All right, guys. So this is a pretty raw video here, but I just got done with practice, and I was just wanting to let you guys know that what I came to me is absolutely crazy, and I'm going to give you guys an entire 3-week training plan here on YouTube for free. I know it sounds crazy because everybody makes you pay for training, but I'm going to post it here on YouTube for free. And the thing here is my whole goal was starting this channel is to help as many people as possible and make real speed training available to everybody. So I guess, man, let's say that to let you know that every season has phases. You have a general prep phase, a specific prep phase, your pre-competition phase, your competition phase, your peaking phase. And even after you peak, there's another phase of training that's so overlooked, and it's called rebuild, repair, and restore. Right. And that's something that, I really pride myself on teaching the people in my one-on-one group. So knowing that there's all these different phases, my challenge for you guys is this. One, if you found this video helpful and you actually are implementing everything in this video, you're going to get better. And two, my other challenge for you is this, is to actually, bring a friend involved, right? Because when you have training partners and you can train at a high level with people that you enjoy, it makes training even better. And number three is this. And number three is really something I want you guys to really take hold of, right? And really, store it in your heart is ask yourself this. Say like, well, what phase does this even play an overall annual grand scheme of training plan? And I'll leave you guys with this. Have you ever wondered how two people can have the same coach, apply the same knowledge, go to practice at the same time, work just as hard, but get two different outcomes? Some people might say genetics. Some people might say something else, but ask yourself, how is it possible that I can be doing the same training as somebody else, working as hard as somebody else, but get two different outcomes? All right, guys, I hope you enjoyed this video. It's probably like 3 hours long or something crazy like that. But sorry, man, for this raw, unedited video. Just got done with my off-season training. Thank you guys for supporting. We recently just took 9th at the USA Championships in the 100 meters. It's been a great year. It's been awesome to have you guys along this ride. And really, more things are to come for you guys who are subscribed to this channel. Sprint University and all these athletes, all of you guys that want to get better, I can say this with true certainty that this is just the beginning for everybody. All right, I hope you guys enjoyed this video.
What's up, everybody? It's Lawrence Elo Johnson here, professional track and field athlete, former multiple-time NCAA Division I All-American, and also the founder of Sprint University here. So, we've worked with hundreds and thousands of athletes at this point, right? We've gone with working with athletes who are barely making varsity to going on to breaking school records. We've worked with athletes who are struggling with injury to coming back and dominating their event. Athletes from unknown to D1 prospect. But since we work with athletes on a one-on-one basis, trying to find their very own weaknesses and turning it into strength, we realize that we aren't able to help everybody, right? And for those athletes who aren't quite at that level of commitment or actually want to receive the success that they deserve in this sport, I'm creating this free training for you guys. I'm giving you a glimpse of what's possible. Now, my goal here is simple. I want every athlete to experience what it's like to truly run faster, truly feel unstoppable, and ultimately achieve their athletic dreams. And the actual ability to do that is what we're going to give you in this course. So if you're ready to get faster, let's lock in. So just to give you a little more background, this course is built on years of experience, from me personally being a high school state champion, a college All-American, and now a professional sprinter. So here's what you will actually learn in this training. How athletes are shattering their plateaus and dropping their 100-meter times from 11:28 to 10:48 in just 46 days, using the system that we designed to help guaranteed constant improvement. The second thing you will learn is how another athlete of ours, think about that, he went from injuring his hamstring to breaking the school record in just 14 days after the injury. So using our recovery methods that most athletes and coaches overlooked has helped this man PR and come back from a hamstring. And 3, we're going to show you how one of our athletes cut his 100-meter time from from 11.9 to 11.4 without actually even running on the track yet. Yes, that's exactly what I said. All by mastering one powerful skill from our systems that we're going to teach you on how to improve your speed. Let me ask you guys this. If you had the ability to drop from 11.9 to 11.4 without actually even stepping on the track and just implementing one of our proven systems that I've used and mastered with my athletes and in my professional career with over 15 years of advice, would you find it worth it? Right, let's see if it is. And number 4, how you can break through plateaus, smash your PRs, and become the athlete that coaches can't ignore. Now, if you're an athlete and you struggle with getting your own coach's attention, whether that be your high school coach, your professional coach, or even to get college coaches' attention, this is going to teach you how to get their attention with speed that they can't ignore. And number 5, I'm going to show you how these same proven systems have helped athletes earn scholarships, break school records, and run faster than ever. So with this, you can stop wasting your time on random workouts and actually do what's going to help you get faster. What's the catch? The catch is this. I'm going to give this all away to you guys for free. Yes, I'm giving you all the secrets for free. And here's why. 1, I want to help athletes like you. Every day I'm on Instagram, I see there are too many speed gurus giving bad advice. And I want to show you what actually works, because I've been in the same steps, the same shoes you've been, looking at random drills, trying to figure it out, thinking that I can coach myself, and realizing that, man, if even the best athletes in the world have a coach, I need to find a coach too. One with a proven track record, one that's done it himself and has the ability to teach others to do it. And the second reason why I'm giving all of my secrets away for free, I don't really need your money. I say that because I'm grateful and I'm blessed, right? But I want to give you more value in this free course that you would get in any random paid for 6 to 12 week program that you'd probably try to buy online. The goal here is to give you as much value for free as possible. Number 3, I'm not really scared to share my secrets, if I'm being honest. If you've probably wondered, like, how do other professional athletes train? What are they doing to get their results? It's a reason why they're keeping it such hush-hush, because they don't want the public to actually know what secrets that they're doing in their training, how they're recovering, what they're eating to get the results that they're having. So with all that being said, my one-on-one athletes get personalized plans, right, that fit their exact tailored needs to help them go from where they're struggling with to help them get to be where they want to be. But you will still get, real strategies that work in this course, but I'm not afraid to give away the secrets, because the athletes I work with on a one-on-one basis, they get massive results through the implementation and personalizing these systems to help them receive the results that they want. And number 4, I know where you are. I've been a high school athlete from, championships to eventually earning college scholarships to now going pro. I know where you want to go. I've done it, and I know how to help you get there too. So from a complete ethical standpoint, if I have the keys to help somebody, I believe that I should be the one to do that. And number 5, this is probably going to catch you guys off guard, but the competitor in me wants to see you win and compete at the highest level, right? I know what it's like to compete and win at the highest level. And I want you to reach to a point where someday, if God blesses you and you implement all of these systems, that you can reach the professional level, and then maybe you and I will race one day and we can see who's truly the fastest. Yes, so I want you guys all to reach this level of elite status of being a professional sprinter, and I want to test if your abilities up against mine. So that's really the 5th and overarching way, is that the competitor and me want to give away the secrets and see if you can implement them and then beat me at the own game. All right, now with all of these things I'm telling you guys and all of these things I'm giving away for free that I charge my one-on-one athletes for with specific tailored implementation, is all I ask that if you get faster by just using one of these systems or one of these tips, or if you think you've learned something that was super beneficial to you of being an athlete, all I ask is, if you found it helpful, is to just share it with a friend, right? Share it with somebody who's copying random workouts, following bad advice, or just struggling to get faster overall. Let's see how many athletes that we can help, and see if we can help as many athletes as we possibly can. So with all that being said, I just want to welcome you guys to the blueprint that has helped athletes run faster just like you, recover quicker, and dominate their competition. Let's dive in. Welcome to one of our most important modules or courses, I don't even know what to call it, in this classroom community. If you've ever felt that you've been training hard and you're not getting faster, trust me, you're not alone. And the truth is, speed isn't, about how hard you train, and it isn't about luck. It's not even really about the type of shoes that you wear. Speed is a system, and today I'm going to show you the exact system that works. And by the end of the training, you will have the understanding and the exact steps of what elite sprinters do, and if you can follow them consistently, you will get faster. Point blank period. If you follow these steps consistently, you will get faster. And most importantly, you will see where athletes are going wrong in terms of why they aren't getting faster. So once you understand this, I promise your approach to sprinting will never be the same again. So why most athletes aren't actually getting faster? Here's the reality. Most athletes never get faster. It's just a point of reality. They train, they sweat, they work as hard as they possibly can, but their times just ultimately end up staying the same. The question comes, why does this actually happen? Right? It's mostly because they're making the same mistakes over and over. Here's why most athletes stay stuck. They have no system, so they actually have no progress. If you're just doing random workouts with no structure, you will ultimately get random results. 2, there's no guidance, right? No one is telling them what they're actively doing wrong or how to even fix it. They're just following random workouts and doing it. They don't have a coach that videotapes them, breaks down each and every step of their race to help them get faster. And 3, there's just, way too much focus on volume. More isn't better. And it really, in terms of sprinting isn't about who works the hardest, it's about who works the smartest. And number 4, there's no adjustments. If no one's telling you what to change, you ultimately just keep repeating the same mistakes week after week. And honestly, what's the worst part of all of this is that most athletes, come from some random online advice, right? And the worst part of all of this is that most of this comes from just following random online advice, right? Advice that isn't built for your body, your goals, or your needs. If any of this really sounds familiar, it's truly not your fault. That algorithm. And the worst part of all of this is that most of the time, this comes from just following random online advice. Advice that isn't built for your body, your goals, or even your needs. And if any of this truly sounds familiar, guys, it's not your fault. Most athletes, have been misled about what it really takes to build speed, but today you're going to get everything that you need to learn. Exactly. Any of this sounds familiar, it's not your fault. Most athletes have been misled their entire career about what it really takes to build speed, but today you're going to learn exactly how to break free. So you guys are probably wondering, I don't have a system for speed. I don't even know what a system is. But here's what happens when you don't have a system to help you constantly progress and run faster. First, you'll probably start following online random workouts. They look hard, so you assume, okay, they probably work. But after a few weeks, you start to realize that you're still running the same times, and then you'll hit a plateau. But no matter how hard you push, your times are ultimately going to stay the same. And eventually you'll feel stuck. You start questioning yourself. Am I even capable of getting faster, or any of these other self-limiting mindset thoughts? If any of this sounds familiar, right, this is what happens when your training lacks true structure, true feedback, and personalization, right? Without a system, every day feels like guesswork, and nobody likes a guessing game when it comes to their actual performance. But with a system, everything changes. Every drill has a purpose. Every workout has a strategy, and every improvement is intentional. So without this guidance, without any accountability, there's no adjustments. And then the more you start training, you're not going to actually get better results because there's no structure and no one's telling you what you even need to fix. Here are the 5 biggest mistakes. You're following free and online random workouts. So you're probably like, hey, isn't this a free and online random workouts from online coaches? And these coaches' issue is that they don't actually have proof of being fast themselves or coaching at a high level or professional level. So the problem is These coaches might not have the actual accolades and they're just on Instagram and just start speed training, right? It's a very low entry to barrier. So the problem with this is, that these programs aren't built specifically for you, right? They don't know your speed, they don't know your mechanics, they don't know your weaknesses. They aren't doing a true biomechanical analysis of you. They're just sending you a 6 or 12 week program. The second biggest mistake is that you need to stop chasing volume and not chasing quality. More reps don't make you faster. In fact, doing too much reps can actually make you slower by causing burnout and fatigue. 3, a lot of coaches just fall in love with more work because they're chasing volume, and you guys are skipping recovery and sleep. If you don't recover, you can't improve, right? It's that simple. You have to recover in order to improve. And number 4, so many people are just ignoring mechanics. Just running fast isn't enough. Sprinting is about mechanics. It's about your stride rate. It's about your block starts, your stride frequency, your posture. And most athletes don't even know what they're actually looking for. They go on Instagram, they see someone toe drag, and they feel like they need to do it too. And 5, right, there's no guidance, there's no feedbacks on what to fix. So by you following these random speed programs, doing random workouts, if you aren't getting feedback, this is probably one of the biggest things. If no one's telling you what to fix, you'll keep repeating the same mistakes week after week, and ultimately you're gonna feel guilty, because if even one of these mistakes could have been improved, you're probably gonna not see the success that you want to see. So honestly, most athletes make these mistakes, but I'm gonna show you exactly how to fix them. So guys, the hard truth about speed, here it is. You don't rise to the occasion. You don't show up on race day and just be like, took a whole bunch of energy drinks, I listened to my music, and I'm going to run faster because I'm more excited for this race. Right? You don't rise to the occasion. You ultimately will fall to the level of the systems you have in place. If you're relying on willpower, you will fail. If you're relying on random workouts, you will stay stuck. But with a system, you have something that is repeatable. A system is something that can be repeated and predictable, and it's built to make you faster every single week. So this is why the fastest sprinters in the world don't guess. They follow a system so that they know when it's time to run their fastest, they will. This is the system that you guys can use so that you can start to see the same improvements. Everything we've talked about so far, from the mistakes athletes make to the hard truth about speed, all leads to this moment. So if you aren't one of these athletes who just skipped through the video, went straight to the workout and try and implement it, congratulations, because you're already probably part of the last 20% that's actually going to see the results that they want to see. This is the systems of speed. If you've ever wondered why elite sprinters always seem to improve and get faster, recover quicker, and dominate on the race day, and others just ultimately stay stuck, it's not genetics, it's not luck. It's about the system that they follow. And that system isn't about how fast they run or how many reps they're doing. It's about mastering all the things that make them fast. It then ultimately allows them to become faster. Here's the path forward, guys. These are the 6 pillars that control every aspect of your sprinting ability, right? If you only master maybe 1 or 2 of these pillars, you will improve. But only really, by a little. But if you master all 6, this is when you will start to see the true breakthroughs in your performance. And here they are. We have movement mastery, also known as movement specialists. We'll start there, right? Perfecting the way you move from your block starts, your stride length, your arm swing. Every inch ultimately matters in terms of sprinting. So if you move better, you will run faster, right? And then underneath that, we have nutrition. Most athletes think their nutrition is all right. Most athletes think they're built in under movement mastery, and under movement specialist, we have nutrition. Most athletes think speed is built on the track, but in reality, it's truly built in the kitchen, right? If you're not eating for speed, you're ultimately holding yourself back. Underneath that, we also have, and next, we have recovery. This is one of the most overlooked pillars in all the sports performance realm, regardless of track and field, basketball, soccer, football, volleyball, any sport you can think. This is one of the most overlooked pillars. Recovery isn't something you hope for. It's something you control. It's mobility, it's stretching, it's active recovery. These are the secrets that are helping the fastest athletes remain fast and get even faster. After that, we have sleep. Every elite sprinter you've ever seen follows one rule: you don't recover, you don't improve. Yes, every elite sprinter follows that one rule: you don't recover, you don't improve. So if you want to sprint faster, it starts with optimizing your sleep for recovery and performance. After that, you need to learn how to master the mindset, the mental ability to train your mind, and your body will ultimately follow. You need to unfollow your doubts. You need to train your mind to have an elite mindset. We train the mind to win before the race even starts. If your mental game is off, everything else ultimately crumbles. And I want to ask yourself this: more than likely, there's never been a time where you thought you were going to fail and you ultimately had massive success. Leading into something, if your mental isn't there, very rarely do you get the outcome that you actually was truly hoping for. And number 6 is skill development. Now, this is where the details, separate the good from the great. We talked about block starts, we talked about stride frequency, we talked about turnover speed. And this is where races are won and ultimately lost. So this pillar alone can cut tenths off of your time if you have someone help implementing your exact skill development that you need, the exact drills that you need, and the exact data that you are receiving to navigate the road moving forward. So most athletes can only focus on maybe 1 or 2 of these pillars, right? Because in the detail it takes to actually master them, it took me, I don't even want to put a time on it, to truly master these pillars, right? I wouldn't even say I've fully mastered it now as a professional athlete. But if you're ignoring, if you're ultimately ignoring nutrition, your sleep, your recovery, you're probably missing about 80% of the results that you can get. If you're missing mental preparation, you'll fall apart under pressure, right? If you don't develop the critical sprinting skills, you always have an invisible ceiling that you can't break through. So here's pretty much the roadmap, guys, right? It's true that we know that speed isn't luck, it's a system. And if you can master these 6 pillars, speed becomes automatic. It's almost like a by result, right? So week 1, we're gonna focus on nutrition and mindset, right? We'll start there, and we're gonna try to at least implement how we can have better nutrition and mindset on top of this free training program to help you run faster. Then in week 2, we'll start to focus on sleep and recovery. These are the silent killers of speed. And then finally, for our 3rd week of this free training, is that we're gonna master movement and learn how to develop skill, right? The game changers that's gonna ultimately separate the good from the great sprinters. And by the end of these 3 weeks, guys, you will know more about speed training than 99% of the athletes on the track. But more importantly, you will have the exact systems in place in order to help you get faster. No more guessing, no more plateaus, just speed. Let's get it. Let's hop into this training. Everything we've talked about so far, from the mistakes athletes make to the hard truth about speed, all leads to this moment. So if you aren't one of these athletes who just skipped through the video, went straight to the workout and try and implement it, congratulations, because you're already probably part of the last 20% that's actually going to see the results that they want to see. This is the systems of speed. If you've ever wondered why elite sprinters always seem to improve and get faster, recover quicker, and dominate on the race day, and others just ultimately stay stuck, it's not genetics, it's not luck. It's about the system that they follow. And that system isn't about how fast they run or how many reps they're doing. It's about mastering all the things that make them fast. It then ultimately allows them to become faster. Here's the path forward, guys. These are the 6 pillars that control every aspect of your sprinting ability, right? If you only master maybe 1 or 2 of these pillars, you will improve, but only really, by a little. But if you master all 6, that is when you will start to see the true breakthroughs in your performance. And here they are. We have movement mastery, also known as movement specialist. We'll start there. Right? Perfecting the way you move from your block starts, your stride length, your arm swing, every inch ultimately matters in terms of sprinting. So if you move better, you will run faster. Right? And then underneath that, we have nutrition. Most athletes think their nutrition is all right, but most athletes don't think they're Most athletes think they're built in under movement mastery. In under movement specialist, we have nutrition. Most athletes think speed is built on the track. But in reality, it's truly built in the kitchen. Right? If you're not eating for speed, you're ultimately holding yourself back. Underneath that, we also have, and next, we have recovery. This is one of the most overlooked pillars in all the sports performance realm, regardless of track and field, basketball, soccer, football, volleyball, any sport you can think. This is one of the most overlooked pillars. Recovery isn't something you hope for. It's something you control. It's mobility, it's stretching, it's active recovery. These are the secrets that are helping the fastest athletes remain fast and get even faster. After that, we have sleep. Every elite sprinter you've ever seen follows one rule. You don't recover, you don't improve. Yes, every elite sprinter follows that one rule. You don't recover, you don't improve. So if you want to sprint faster, it starts with optimizing your sleep for recovery and performance. After that, you need to learn how to master the mindset, the mental ability to train your mind, and your body will ultimately follow. You need to unfollow your doubts. You need to train your mind to have an elite mindset. We train the mind to win before the race even starts. If your mental game is off, everything else ultimately crumbles. And I want to ask yourself this. More than likely, there's never been a time where you thought you were going to fail and you ultimately had massive success. Leading into something, if your mental isn't there, very rarely do you get the outcome that you actually was truly hoping for. And number 6 is skill development. This is where the details, separate the good from the great. We talked about block starts. We talked about stride frequency. We talked about turnover speed. And this is where races are won and ultimately lost. So this pillar alone can cut tenths off of your time if you have someone help implementing your exact skill development that you need, the exact drills that you need, and the exact data that you are receiving to, navigate the road moving forward. So, most athletes can only focus on maybe one or two of these pillars, right? Because in the detail it takes to actually master them, it took me, I don't even want to put a time on it to truly master these pillars, right? I wouldn't even say I've fully mastered it now as a professional athlete. But if you're if you're ultimately ignoring nutrition, your sleep, your recovery, you're probably missing about 80% of the results that you can get. If you're missing mental preparation, you'll fall apart under pressure, right? If you don't develop the critical sprinting skills, you always have an invisible ceiling that you can't break through. So here's pretty much the roadmap, guys, right? It's true that we know that speed isn't luck, it's a system. And if you can master these 6 pillars, speed becomes automatic. It's almost like a by result, right? So week 1, we're going to focus on nutrition and mindset, right? We'll start there, and we're going to try to at least implement how we can have better nutrition and mindset on top of this free training program to help you run faster. Then in week 2, we'll start to focus on sleep and recovery. These are the silent killers of speed. And then finally, for our third week of this free training, is that we're going to master movement and learn how to develop skill, right? The game changers that's going to ultimately separate the good from the great sprinters. And by the end of these 3 weeks, guys, you will know more about speed training than 99% of the athletes on the track. But more importantly, you will have the exact systems in place in order to help you get faster. No more guessing, no more plateaus, just speed. Let's get it. Let's hop into this training. What's up, everybody? It's Lawrence L.O. Johnson here, professional track and field athlete, 6-time NCAA All-American, school record holder, high school and college, Team USA champion, collegiate champion, conference champion as well, and the founder of Sprint University. So here's something, guys, that most athletes always get wrong, right? They think speed only comes from running more sprints, do even more volume. And honestly, it doesn't. Right? The real edge comes from what you do before practice and after you hit the track. So I went from 10.77 on a good day to running 10.08 in just 3 years. And by the time you're watching this, if outdoor season is, I would have already gone below 10.08. But that's neither here or there. That jump didn't happen by just training harder. It came from mastering the skills and the things that most athletes ultimately ignore, and that's why they aren't getting the results that they actually want, right? It came from what I ate before and after each sprint session. It came from how I prepared my mind before every rep, every race, and every competition. So if you want to actually get faster, you need to stop thinking about it's only what you do on the track that matters. The fastest athletes in the world aren't faster just because they're training harder. These athletes are faster because they fuel better. Us athletes, us professional sprinters, are better because we fuel better and we think sharper, and ultimately we train smarter. So this week I am going to show you how you can master your nutrition and mindset for your speed. First, I will show you how nutrition can make or break your speed. And then next, I'll break down the mental mistakes most athletes make that are killing their performances. And by the end, you will have tools to fuel your body, train your mind, and your approach to sprints like a true champion. And if you're tired of doing all the hard work but never seeing the results, lock in, pay attention, and stay until the end. This is the edge that most athletes miss. Let's get it. Now, before you go to practice and you start doing the workout for today, you need to have a pre-training hydration plan, right? Most athletes think hydration is just drink more water, but that's only half of the story. If you're not properly hydrated before training, you're already behind on your very first sprint. Hydration isn't just about avoiding thirst. It's about preventing early fatigue, improving muscle performance, and keeping you explosive from start to finish. And today I'm going to show you how to master pre-training hydration like elite athletes and the athletes that I work with on a one-to-one basis. If you do this right, you will have more power, sharper focus, better stamina throughout each and every sprint. So why does pre-training hydration even matter? Here's the purpose of pre-training hydration, guys. Hydration in one sentence is if you start fully hydrated, you avoid fatigue early, right? Here's the purpose of hydration in one sentence. Start fully hydrated so you avoid early fatigue. You can maximize power and stay sharp all the way throughout practice. If you ever felt yourself slowing down midway through a workout and you're just, not getting tired, it's dehydration. If you ever felt yourself slowing down, midway through a workout, it's not just getting tired. It's dehydration more than likely. Even being, 2% dehydrated can result in a 20% drop in performance. So think about that. 2% of dehydration can actually begin to have a 20% decrease in performance. Now, I don't know about you, but a 20% decrease in performance is a lot. And this is why elite sprinters start hydrating hours before training begins, not just 5 minutes before the first rep. By doing this, they ensure that their muscles are primed to be contracted by maximum muscle power that can ultimately help them on their very first sprint. Now, timing truly matters. Timing is everything in life. Most athletes wait until right before training to drink water. By then, it's way too late. Here's exactly what you need to be doing for timing before you actually start sprinting. 2 to 3 hours before training, drink 16 to 20 ounces of water. If training is early in the morning, get that water in right after you wake up. So you might say, why so early? Because it takes time for your body to absorb water into your muscles and cells. If you're drinking water just 5 minutes before you train, if it's still sitting in your stomach, that's probably why you start to feel heavy and bloated. But if you start to hydrate anywhere between 2 to 3 hours before, the water is already where it needs to be at the end of the day. Before practice, it's already in your muscles, it's already in your cells. So it's in your bloodstream, and you'll be ready to fuel your performance. But it really doesn't just end there. You need to have electrolytes. Hydration isn't just water, it's water plus electrolytes. So water alone isn't enough, guys. If you're training hard, sweating, working out in the heat, you're losing 2 critical minerals, sodium and potassium. And here's how you fix it. You need to add in electrolytes to your pre-training water. You need to use electrolyte powders, electrolyte tablets, or other products. In the end of this day workout, after this classroom tab on Monday, I will leave a link to the hydration powders that I suggest athletes use and that I use as well. But always remember this, any of these supplement recommendations are not from a healthcare professional, so you do have to take at your own risk. I am not a healthcare professional. I am just saying these are the things that I use and other elite athletes use. All right, had to get the disclaimer out of the way. But why does it matter, right? Because electrolytes help you fuel your muscles at a fire faster and more. But why does it matter? Because electrolytes help your muscles fire faster, contract more powerfully, and without them, your muscles are just going to fatigue early, you're going to cramp up, and you will lose explosiveness. So here's a pro tip. If you ever felt a cramp during a sprint, it's not just fatigue, it's more than likely electrolyte problems. So here's another hydration booster that can help you maintain hydration. So things like beta-alanine, right? We have our hydration powders. Now let's talk about beta-alanine as the next supplement that you could take. Most people think beta-alanine is just for lactic acid buffering, but it's truly not. And even if it's just for lactic acid buffering, you should definitely still take beta-alanine. But, it also helps you maintain hydration during intense efforts by reducing fatigue in your fast twitch muscle fibers. This is why elite sprinters use beta-alanine before big workouts. If you're serious about squeezing every single ounce out of performance, out of your training, these are 2 supplements that aren't optional, in my opinion. They're essential. If you want access to the exact products that I recommend, can check the link below for my personal recommendations. But these are the ones I trust for myself and athletes I work with. Now, it doesn't just end there, guys. You need to be properly hydrated, but that is only just the beginning of what you need to be ready to do before practice. So here's the quick recap. You need to be hydrating 2 to 3 hours before training. Drink 16 to 20 ounces of water. Add in electrolytes. You can use electrolyte powders or tablets. And then you want to add other supplements such as beta-alanine to help maximize the absorption of your actual supplementation. And if you skip it, don't be surprised if you hit a wall halfway through your sprints and you ultimately won't reach your true potential as an athlete. Remember, hydration isn't something that you react to, it's something you prepare for. You lock in this system and you feel different from day one. Now, we have way more things besides just hydration to talk about. Most athletes think, right? Most athletes think pre-practice nutrition is just getting a grab and go snack, right? But that's where they mess up. And today I'm going to show you how to master your pre-training nutrition. So the purpose of pre-training nutrition is to actually keep it simple, right? You want to boost your energy, you want to prevent fatigue, and you ultimately want to maximize your performance. If you ever felt sluggish or gassed halfway through a session, it's really not your fitness, it's probably your fuel. You know, when your energy runs out, you can't perform at your peak. So the goal of pre-training nutrition is to make sure that you always show up every session with high levels of energy so that you feel fresh and not fatigued. You want to be able to have explosive power so that every rep is sharp and fast. Sustained endurance so that you finish each session as strong as you started. So when should you be eating? It's kind of along the same lines of when you're hydrating. 2 to 3 hours before training, this is your primary fuel source. So think of it as filling up the gas tank. A small snack maybe 30 to 60 minutes before if you need that extra boost to help grab something. And then a small snack anywhere between 30 to 60 minutes before if you really need that extra boost. Grab something light and digestible that's very easy digestible. 2 to 3 hours is why we really aim for a full meal. This is because, you know, it takes time for your body to digest food, send those nutrients to your muscles. If you eat a big meal 15 minutes before training, it's still in your stomach and it's not going to be in your muscles, and it's ultimately going to just lead to an uncomfortable feeling. So what should you actually eat? Well, here's the big question a lot of people are asking. What should I eat before training? You know, here's a simple answer, honestly. You need a mix of carbohydrates, protein, and healthy fats. But for speed and power, carbs and protein are really your priority. Carbs actually give you quick energy. Carbs are the main fuel source for high intensity training. The best training carbs are easily fast digestible carbs, and these comes in forms of bananas, oats, rice cakes, or even whole fruit options. And then think of protein as your muscle protection, right? So protein actually builds and protects your muscles during high stress training. These pre-training protein sources are things like eggs, Greek yogurts, protein shakes, and lean meats. So if you're only eating carbs, you're really just shortcutting yourself, right? Carbs give you energy, but protein is what prevents your muscles from breaking you down and helps you stay healthy. So some supplements that, you know, like I said before, can also help you as an athlete. One would be caffeine. It boosts focus, alertness, and endurance. The best time to take it is about 30 minutes before training. And how it works is it ultimately stimulates your central nervous system, which increases adrenaline and helps you stay sharp during intense sprints. Here's a pro tip, right? If you use caffeine, start with a small amount, anywhere from 50 to 100 milligrams, just to see how your body reacts. Then there's creatine. Most people think creatine is only for weightlifting, but here's the truth. Creatine boosts your sprints and power too. Right? The best way to use it is to take about 5 to 10 grams daily, not just before training, and it works to help you increase your muscles' energy supply so that you can perform explosive movements. Another pro tip, for some athletes, they might need a loading phase. Other athletes don't, but you know, just 5 grams a day is truly all you need. Then we have our BCAAs and EEAs, right? These are essential amino acids that help prevent muscle breakdown. So when do you actually want to use EAAs or BCAAs? It's really during your longer training sessions, 60 plus minutes. And why it really matters is that during intense training, your muscles break down. BCAAs and EAs protect them. So you need to recover faster and stronger for the next rep. These 3 supplements aren't required for everyone, obviously. But if you're serious about maximizing your performance, by all means, these supplements are worth it. So here's really just a pre-training blueprint that I use with the athletes. You know, a full meal 2 to 3 hours before practice. Includes carbs, proteins like oats, includes carbs and proteins from things like food. 2 to 3 hours before practice, you need to have your full meal. You need to include carbs, protein from foods like, and 2 to 3 hours before your actual competition, you should include things like carbs and proteins. These can come from foods like eggs, oats, bananas, Greek yogurt, or even rice cakes. 2, you need to have a snack 30 to 60 minutes before training if needed. Right? If you need this, then you'd want to implement it in your pre-training routine. So grab a fast, small, easy digesting snack, maybe like a banana, a rice cake, or even like a small protein shake, something like that. And then, like I said before, the supplements. You need to use the right tools to give you the right edge. We have our caffeine. Take 30 minutes before your training for extra focus. Creatine, 5 to 10 grams daily. 5 grams will definitely get the job accomplished. And BCAAs are used during longer sessions to prevent your muscles from breakdown. So if you do this, and you'll walk onto the track already feeling ready for fuel. If you just implement these strategies, you will get faster and you will see results before even getting on a dedicated training plan, right? So these things are important, and if you can master them, you guys will see success in this sport. All right, so here goes another thing. If you guys are still around at this point in the video and you didn't skip over just to the workout, you are already a part of maybe the 19% that's going to get the maximum results out of this free training. So you need to have an elite mindset, guys, right? The elite mindset is what's going to help you produce amazing results on the track, because whatever the mind does, the body follows. So you need to create a pre-practice mindset routine. The purpose of a mindset routine is simple. It shifts your focus, it sets clear attention. It shifts your focus, it sets clear intentions, and prepare mentally for peak performance. And here's really the truth, guys, right? Your mind leads and your body ultimately follows. If you show up to practice distracted, anxious, or really just off, it doesn't matter how strong you are or how fast you are. Your performance will reflect from your mindset. But when you create a consistent pre-practice mental routine, you flip the switch in a way, right? Your brain says, it's time to train. This is why every elite athlete in the world, from track to basketball to American football to the regular football, they all have this switch that they take, right? But here's the twist. You don't just need this on race day. You need to do this every single day in practice. And when it's locked in, every rep is intentional. Every rep is intentional so you can get faster, period. So here are 3 habits that you can lock in your pre-practice routine. This 3-step process is going to help you unlock your true mindset before practice. And this isn't just some random motivation, right? This is a process that top athletes use to prime their minds for high performance. So, 1, we're talking about mental rehearsal is a key of visualization, right? So the first habit is visualization. We need to have mental rehearsal of movements or goals for that session. And here's how you do it, right? You close your eyes, you visualize yourself executing a specific movement or achieving a key goal. Example, this might be, you crushing your first 10 meters of your sprints, or you executing a flawless block start. And the reason why this actually works is because your brain truly doesn't know the difference between a vividly imagined movement and the actual real one. So this is why, Olympic athletes use visualization in their performance before every event. It builds muscle memory, and before even stepping on the track, you've already executed what you want to execute. So focus on visualizing success. Don't visualize mistakes or failed reps, because that's something you don't want to actually have happen. And then we have setting intentions, right? What this is writing down 1 to 2 specific outcomes you want from today's session. How to do it, man. If you use a small notebook or app, you can set clear, specific goals for that day. And just a couple examples of these goals might just be something as going along the same lines of the acceleration. I just want to improve my first 10 meters of acceleration. Or another example goal would be hit all my target times on sprint today. And the reason this works is because if you set a target, you will drift at practice, but with a clear goal. And the reason why this works is if you don't set a clear target, you'll end up drifting throughout practice. But with a clear goal, every rep has a purpose. Here's one more pro tip for you guys, man. If you keep your goal specific and action based, not vague, right? Instead of just, I want to run faster today. Set something that you can truly have actionable steps toward. So instead of just saying, I want to run faster today, shift it towards something like focus on a perfect block start mechanic for 3 out of the 4 reps, right? And the third tip that you can do to help improve mental toughness and build focus and resilience is have calm and focus. So what is this, right? This is just a quick routine to get your mind into a calm, focused state. A way to do it is box breathing, right? So what box breathing is inhaling for 4 seconds, holding for 4 seconds, and exhaling for 4 seconds, and then holding again for 4 seconds. So it looks something like this. Inhale for 4 seconds, hold for 4 seconds, exhale for 4 seconds, hold for 4 seconds. Inhale, hold, exhale, hold. That's going to allow you to become more focused through box breathing. And then we have things like music or audio, right? You can play a motivational playlist or an audio clips that kind of get you focused and ready. You can do things such as have a pre-practice anchor, right? You can do small intentional asks that signal your brain like it's time to start training. This could be you tying your shoes in a certain way, tapping your chest, or repeating a mantra like, I'm here to dominate today, right? That sets clear intention and it's a pre-practice anchor. So this really works because your brain craves familiarity, right? When you repeat a pre-practice anchor every single day, your brain learns to associate it with go time. It's time to go. So you need an anchor. You need to be simple, quick, and repeatable. Choose something that you can do anywhere, like a chest tap or a clap or a mantra. Whatever these things are, you can do at all times. And you guys know me, man. If you need some supplements to help you with your mental toughness and build an elite mindset, here we go. We have things called L-theanine, right? So here are the 2 supplements that you can use to actually give you this actual mental edge. L-theanine and caffeine. This will enhance your focus, attention, and alertness, but it would also do it without the anxiety that caffeine alone can do. So, taking it with L-theanine will help that anxiety that might come or arise. And then, we have beetroot powder. So what it actually does is increases blood flow to the brain and your muscles, giving you sharper mental clarity, faster, and physical readiness, right? So you can just take 1 scoop or about 6 to 8 grams 30 minutes before training. And the nitric oxide boost from beetroot will increase oxygen to your brain and your muscles, which ultimately improves your reaction time. Like I said before, I'm not a health professional. These aren't actually required for everyone, but if you want to perform like a professional athlete, they're game changers. If you want the exact products I use, there will be a link in the description or underneath this video that you can go do it. So, now we're ready to get into what we have for practice today, right? We've got our pre-practice routine, and like I said before, if you just implement these things alone, you will have massive success. So, let's dive in. We have our pre-practice nutrition. An example, this would be a banana with a small scoop of almond butter, right? Why? Because this provides fast digesting carbs. The almond butter adds a small amount of healthy fats, which is going to help you support your protein and we have a small amount of healthy fats, and protein to help support your energy throughout the whole practice without feeling too heavy. And then for your pillar of mindset, right? We just covered our pillar of nutrition and mindset. Pre-practice, you actually can go ahead and set clear goals. Before practice, write down 1 to 2 to 3 specific goals that you want to focus on. That might be running relaxed, maintaining rhythm throughout all reps, or just increase stride length for the first 30 meters. Now let's get into what we have today for training, guys. What we have now, let me just give you a preface of this, right? This is a generic training plan, right? There's no, if anybody is selling you workout plans, random 6-week, 8-week, 12-week workout plans without actually knowing your specific needs as an athlete, I mean, I'm talking about visual feedback. I'm talking about putting in your stride length, finding your stride frequency, your power to body weight ratio, and how that affects your first 10 meters or 30 meters, your anaerobic, your aerobic capacity. If they aren't giving you, or at least testing any of these things, and you're just getting random workouts, you're going to get random results, right? And more than likely, it's not going to be customized to you. But this is just a workout plan that I've pulled from all of the individual athletes, from what workout helped them here, what workout helped them there. And I try to do my best to come up with a workout plan from the 100 of athletes that I've worked with, and just come up with something that can, help at least the most people across that spectrum of athletes that I've already worked with. So with that being said, for Monday, you have a push-up to a sprint. So you're in a push-up position, and then you push up, and then you sprint at full 100% intensity. Then we have a broad jump into a sprint, 3 times 20 meters, 1 broad jump, and sprint for 20 meters, still accelerating. And then 4-point starts, which is 3 times 30 meters with 100% intensity. That's the acceleration work for Monday. And then the workout is going to be 3 sets of 8 100-meter runs. This would be a rep rest of 30 seconds, and the goal time should be 70% of your PB 100-meter time. So for me as a 10-0 athlete, a 70% effort would be about a 14.29 to 14.5 seconds. So this should be well within your reach, and by all means, it shouldn't be too straining. So you run 100 meters, take 30 seconds rest, and then continue to run another 100 meters, take 30 seconds rest, and you do that for 8 total times of 100 meters with 30 seconds rest, 8 total times, and that would be your first set. After that set, take 3 minutes rest, and then repeat the same thing for set 2. 8 reps of 100 meters with 30 seconds rest in between each 100 meters. After you finish that, take 3 minutes and then move into set 3. And then this is your weight room training, right? So what you want to do here is a clean pool. This is something you can easily find on YouTube. I don't have the videos up here. They're all on my individual training app, with more in-depth actual coaching of that. But for the sake of this actual video, we don't want you guys watching an hour-long video before you have to train. So for the weight room training on Monday, you will perform a clean pull at 75% of your max. So if your maximum clean, hang clean, is 100 pounds, do 75 pounds for a clean pull. So you actually superset your clean pull with a box jump. So warm-up sets are just 2 times 3. You can pick whatever weight you want for the warm-up. And your working sets is going to be 5 sets of 3 clean pulls. And then you also superset that with 5 sets of 3 box jumps. The rest in between the supersets of the clean pull and the box jumps, I just want you to go when your body's ready, but don't be in there taking all day either. Right? We're still trying to accumulate volume. So clean pull, 3 reps, box jumps, 3 reps. And that would be for 5 total sets. Then you'll move into front squats, 75% of your max. 2x5 is your warm-up sets, and your working sets are 4x4. Then we'll move into dumbbell bench press with a bent over row as your superset. The dumbbell bench press, let's go ahead and take 70% of your 1 rep max on that. And then for your dumbbell row, let's just go ahead and take the same weight that you're doing for, your barbell row. Go ahead and take 70% of your 1 rep max on bench press for your barbell row, right? And if that's too difficult for you, just keep pulling down until you can find a range that you can hit 8 total reps. So your working sets is 3 sets of 8 reps of each arm, right, on your dumbbell bench. If you're doing it consecutively with both arms at the same time, you just don't have to just count 1, 2, right? Or if you're doing single dumbbell bench, you would just do 8 arms, 8 reps each arm. And then the same thing for a barbell bench over row. It's 3 sets of 8 working sets, right? And the bulletproof / building our core, what we have here is just 3 sets of 15 hanging knee raises, and then you actually have pistol squats, 4 sets of 4. If you can do with body weight, do that. If you need to add weight, do that as well. So the same thing goes along with the training, is the same thing that goes along with weight training. The workouts on track, I'm just trying to pull together, as much as I can to help the vast majority. And weight training is the same way. No one can tell you exactly what workouts you need to do unless they give you a specific analysis of your power to weight ratio, your hypertrophy, and what part of your body you need to improve on. If your maximum strength is already high, you need to increase your rate of force production. Or if your rate of force production is high, you need to increase your maximum strength. Anywhere along that force velocity curve, they can't tell you what to do unless they give you a specific customized plan and give you an analysis. But just like I said before, even if you do this weight training, you're still going to get better, because this is me pulling away the best things from all the athletes that I've worked with, and trying to put it in a plan that can work to help the most people. So now that you've actually completed your practice for today, the next thing we need to do is still build upon these pillars and systems of performance, right? If your systems of performance don't include the pillars that we've talked about so far, you're going to ultimately not reach your true potential. So let's review. Post-practice mindset. Did I accomplish these goals that I wrote down before practice? What went well? Where did I fall short? And then you can write down a plan to improve the areas that you struggle. And then you shift your focus to next practice. You want to set specific, actionable goals like we've talked about in your other pre-practice routines previously for today's practice on Monday. And let your next practice focus be based on your post-practice reflection. That way our mindset can help us set ourselves up for success. And then the pillar of nutrition. We've talked about pre-practice nutrition. Now let's talk about post-practice. The goal is just to replenish glycogen and repair muscles, right? You can do this with a scoop of whey protein and just a cup of chocolate milk. Let's keep it simple. And for all those who've made it to this point in the video, right? They didn't just skip and get the workout, do that. I have a special bonus for you guys to make things easier, right? Also in the link of this video or underneath it, I'm going to link you a pre-practice nutrition checklist downloadable, right? This is just so when you go to practice, before practice, if it felt like this was a lot of information, you just pull up your checklist and make sure you hit off some of these boxes, right, for your nutrition so that you can be ready to train at a high level. All right, guys, that was day 1. That was Monday. Hopefully you can already see how much in-depth this is going to be for you. And like I said before, man, the goal here is just try to help as many people as possible for free, because I can't work with athletes on a one-on-one basis with everybody. There you guys have it, and I'll see you on day 2, also known as Tuesday. Welcome back, guys, to Tuesday, also known as day 2, right? You could be doing this on a Saturday. It don't have to be done on Tuesday. We don't have to get caught up in the traditional weekly cycle when it comes to training. So we got the speed blueprint right here. What you feed your body fuels your future. The better fuel, the greater results, right? So oftentimes, guys, we think training just ends on the last rep, right? Training doesn't end after the last rep. The actual work and real progress truly begins on the last rep. Most athletes make the mistake thinking that training alone is what gets them faster. But the truth is, what you do after training is just as important to what you do during it, right? And if you're not feeding your body with the right way after training, if you're missing out on faster recovery from not feeding your body, or better muscle growth, or stronger performances in your next session, today I'm going to show you exactly what post-training nutrition looks like so you can recover faster, feel fresher, and show up to every session ready to dominate. So let's hop right into our next day of training, but also our next opportunity to just learn on what it means to be an elite athlete. So why post-training matters, right? The purpose of post-training is simple in one sentence. It's to speed up recovery, replenish energy, and repair muscle damage. Right? So here's the truth, guys. After every rep or every sprint, or every block start, it breaks down your muscles. But if you don't give your body the fuel it needs to rebuild, you will stay sore and you'll probably stay slow, quite frankly, right? But if you fuel it properly, you recover faster, you feel stronger, and you'll come back the next session even better. So why does this even matter? You guys are like, man, I just eat whatever after practice. Faster recovery equals faster gains. Faster recovery equals faster gains. So the quicker you recover, the faster you can train again. You refill glycogen tanks, right? Every sprint drains your body of energy stores. Post-training nutrition fills those tanks back up. It helps you rebuild muscle because sprinting causes micro tears in your muscles, guys. Protein repairs them so that you can build strength ultimately. But if you have no fuel, you'll have no recovery. No recovery equals no progress. So that's ultimately why, post-training recovery is so important, guys. And you might come to practice feeling good, but you actually still might not be fully recovered because you can't always feel muscle small micro tears, right? You might feel it, right? But the damage is already done. So we have timing, right? What are the components of post-training nutrition, right? You don't want to wait too long to eat, man. You will miss your recovery window. Take anywhere between 30 to 60 minutes post-training, and that's when your body is most primed to absorb nutrients anyway, right? Here's the golden rule for timing. Eat within 30 to 60 minutes after training. This is your prime window for recovery. And this matters because after training, your muscles are like a sponge. They're ready to soak up nutrients to repair and rebuild. But if you miss this window, you will lose that advantage, right? And we don't want to lose any advantages. So here's another pro tip for you guys. If you don't have access to a meal right away, a protein shake plus some carbs is probably your best option. It's fast, convenient, and easy to digest. So what are the macronutrients that you actually need to, eat after training? Well, you do want to focus on protein. You want to get anywhere between 20 to 40 grams of protein post-training. This helps you repair muscle tissue and build strength. Some of the best sources are whey protein, chicken breast, eggs, or other lean beef. And it really matters because it kind of hits home on what we've been saying. Every sprint you do creates tears in your muscle fibers, and protein fills those cracks, making your muscle stronger and more powerful. Then we have carbs. You want to replenish your glycogen through carbs, right? So that you're ready to train the next session. You want to put more energy back in that gas tank. So some of the best sources of carbs are things like rice, sweet potatoes, fruit, or other quick digesting carbs like a carb powder. I don't suggest carb powders because it's just straight sugar, like a dextrose or a maltodextrin. I say stay away from those. Then we have electrolytes, right? You want to replenish and rehydrate your electrolyte balance. This is going to help you be able to have better hydration. And then we have omega-3s. Right, omega-3s is one of those supplements that can help you reduce inflammation, which speeds up recovery and reduce soreness. Take 1 to 2 grams of fish oil after training because after a hard session, right, your muscles are inflamed. And omega-3s can actually help reduce that so that you can recover faster and feel fresh the next day. So here's just a pro tip, right? If you want the exact supplements I use in the athletes that I work with, you can just click the link in the video below because I know I'm going to get 100 questions, 100 DMs about what omegas to use. They'll be in the link below of this course video. So a quick recap, guys, right? The goal here is to hit your timing window from 30 to 60 minutes post-training. Eat within 30 to 60 minutes post-training, finishing your session. This is called your recovery window, where your muscles are more ready to be absorbed of the nutrients that you eat. Hit your macronutrients. You want to hit your protein and your carbs. 20 grams of protein, 40 to 60 grams of carbs. And the optional supplements are your whey protein, the carb powders, electrolytes, and your omega-3s. Ultimately, if you follow the system, you will feel fresher, you will recover faster, and show up your next session ready to dominate. But if you skip it, like I said before, don't be surprised. when your legs feel heavy, sore, or probably slow the next session. So here's really the truth, man, about recovery. Your recovery today determines your performance tomorrow. If you miss this window, there's a likely chance that you won't get as better as you could tomorrow. So start using these systems today. Don't wait till tomorrow. Use them today so that you can feel the difference by tomorrow. So let's dive into the next thing, guys. You already know how we do this. Along these pillars, we still got to talk about building an elite mindset. So we've covered pre-practice nutrition, post-practice nutrition, and let's cover during practice mental state strategies. So you want to stay engaged, right? And why your mindset during your practice actually matters is that it helps you stay engaged, disciplined, and keep every rep with intentionality, right? You want everything to have intention behind it. And this is why most athletes just go through the reps. They check out mentally and they just hope that they get better. But that's not the case, right? You can't do that and expect to get better. The truth is, every time you check out mentally, you lose progress. And you don't want to lose progress, I assume, if you're here. If you want to get faster, stronger, more explosive, you need to be 100% locked in on every rep you take. Because every rep is truly an opportunity to improve. Or you can just reinforce bad habits. If you want to be elite, if you want to, race me someday, you might want to go ahead and start incorporating these things, because I know I am, right? And I know my competitors are as well. So, what are some of the habits that you can do from a mental standpoint to make sure that you are mentally tough, you're resilient, and you're building focus? Well, the first thing you can do are micro reflections, right? So a micro reflection is a 15-second mental review after every rep or drill, right? After each rep, ask yourself these two simple questions: what went well and what can I improve the next rep? Most athletes just finish a rep and wait for the next one. But if you take these 15 seconds to reflect, lock in on corrections before the next rep, those habits will ultimately reinforce and help you improve instead of just, staying and hoping to get better, if that makes sense. Number 2, right? You want to stay present. Focus on one task at one time. Don't try to do everything at once, right? So you want to eliminate mental distractions and lock in on just focus on one thing. And how to do it is just use a simple mantra to keep your mind present. Maybe something as like one rep at a time. Attack this rep. Win the next, right? Just this rep. Nothing else matters. These mantras can help you stay focused on the positive and keep you pushing yourself, right? And one thing that you don't want to do, right? When you think about the past rep, when you do your micro reflection, you don't want to just be thinking like, man, I messed up that rep. Instead, shift that focus to what can I do to not mess up the next one, right? So never fall into that negative thought. Always reinforce that negative thought with an actionable positive step that you can take. Say it in your head or even say it out loud if you need to. So going along of reinforcing, we want to have positive self-talk. We want to replace negative talk with positive talk, performance-driven thoughts. Not I'm tired to I'm building endurance. From I feel slow today to every rep is making me faster. Or something like this is hard, but hard is where the growth happens, right? These mental switches, these mental flips are going to help you make sure that you're taking the steps necessary to be successful from a mental standpoint. So let's go ahead and dive in now that we have our pre-practice, our during practice, mental strategies in order to be mentally tough, and let's see how we can apply it to practice. So we have our pre-practice nutrition, which is similar to what we've already know, right? We have our carbs, our Greek yogurt with honey and berries is another example of what you can have. And then your practice, you want to visualize success. Take 5 to 10 minutes before practice. Mentally visualize success in all areas of your session. This is going to help you focus on what you want to feel and how you can just execute the movements that you want to improve. Right? So we're still building on these pillars, and these things are going to be what help you get faster. So let's go into the acceleration work. Today we have standing starts, 3 to 10 meters at 100% intensity. Falling starts, 3 to 20 meters at 100% intensity. 3-point starts, 3 to 30 meters at 100% intensity. Now keep in mind, I don't have any rest or work on these because acceleration work need to be full recovery so that we can get what we're actually trying to get accomplished. So rule of thumb is for every 10 meters, take 1 minute to rest. And then today's workout is 2 by 3 times 60 meters at 90% intensity, right? 90 seconds rep rest, and then 3 minutes set rest. So for set 1, you want 3 reps of 60 meters at 90% of your PB time. So if you run, currently run 6.5 in the 60. 90% of that would be 7.2 to 7.5 range. Right, so what you want to do is run 60 meters, take 90 seconds rest, incomplete rest, and then run another 60 meters. Take 90 seconds rep rest, run another 60 meters. So that was your first set of 3 60-meter runs with 90 seconds rep rest. Then you're going to move into 3 minutes of set rest. After your 3 minutes of set rest, you'll go ahead and move into the second set of 3 reps of 60 meters. And then your post-practice, right? Did I visualize the success that I wanted to have? Was my emotional state during practice? What was my emotional state during practice? And was I able to mentally stay present and focused? And then, like I said before, you want to reflect on that and then set your next practice intention. So identify where visualization could enhance your performance. 3rd rep, I lost form, I was tired. So I want to visualize that 3rd rep when I'm tired and executing it at the best of my ability. And post-practice nutrition, right? The goal is to rehydrate and refuel. And similar to the previous day, Greek yogurt and half a cup of granola will get the job done there. So like I said before, if you're one of those people who actually truly want to get better and you're watching the videos until the end and you're implementing these strategies of the 0.1% of elite sprinters, I have another bonus for you guys, right? We're giving out as many gifts as possible. So I have a free post-training nutrition checklist that you can download so that post-practice, you can make sure you hit your checklist. Keep things simple to make sure that you're recovering in between each session, guys. So that's what we have for you today. And I'll see you in the next training so that we can make sure that we're being the best athlete that we can be. All right, guys, we back, right? Wednesday, day 3, whatever you want to call it. Here's a fact that might surprise you guys. By the time you feel thirsty, you're already probably dehydrated. So what happens? Your performance drops, your energy drops, and your speed starts to disappear. Elite sprinters don't want to feel thirsty. All right, you don't want to feel thirsty. Stay ahead of hydration, stay ahead of dehydration with hydration strategies, guys. This strategy isn't just drink more water. It's about hydrating with a purpose. And today I'm going to show you how to master your during training hydration so that you can maintain peak performance and delay fatigue and finish every session as strong as you started. So far we know how to have pre-practice nutrition. We know how to have post-practice nutrition. Now let's dive into during practice hydration from our nutrition pillar. Then we're going to dive into another key of the sprinting blueprint. Your mind is the engine and your body is the whole vehicle, but both need the right care in order to perform. You want to always make sure your engine is performing, and you also want to make sure that your vehicle is ready to perform, guys. So let's dive right in. We got another good one for us today. During training hydration, why does it even matter, guys? The purpose is simple. You want to maintain performance and delay dehydration, guys. Every time you sprint, you sweat or breathe hard, your body loses water and electrolytes. And if you don't replace them, your muscles will get tired and your reaction will slow down and your power will drop. The goal is to stay ahead of dehydration so that you not react to it. So when you stay hydrated during training, you maintain peak power. We all want to do that. Your muscles stay strong, fast, and explosive. You delay fatigue. Your fatigue doesn't just hit you as fast as you're trying to run. So you can just finish as strong as you started. And it allows you to stay mentally sharp. Dehydration messes with your focus. It messes with your reaction time. So proper hydrations help you keep your mind clear and focused. So if you start waiting until the time that you feel the thirst to tell you when to drink, you're already behind. And today I'm going to show you how you can use timing to stay ahead of it. So let's dive in. Timing is everything. We always talk about it. What we do on the track has a time to it. How we replenish glycogen, how we structure our training has a time component to it. What we do in everything in life, everything in training, is important to do it at the right time when it matters most, right? So timing, you want to be able to sip water or sports drink every 15 to 20 minutes during training. Don't ever go longer than that without at least drinking something, right? Whether it be water or sports drink. And you also want to incorporate some sort of electrolytes as you're doing that. And the reason why this works is that your body can absorb small amounts of water at a time. So if you drink too much at once, you probably have a sit in your stomach. We all had that feeling where you get those side cramps. So just use like a water bottle, right? Give yourself a little squeeze of a water bottle to track how much you're drinking and see if you're actually finishing that bottle through practice. But some of the electrolytes, right, that's so important is that you want to get your sodium. This is going to help you control your muscle contractions. If you cramp, you're low on sodium. Potassium helps you maintain fluid balance in your muscles, guys. So if you're tight or cramping, you're low on potassium. And then magnesium. This helps you prevent muscle spasms and support your ultimate muscle recovery. If you only drink water, you will dilute your electrolytes in your body, which can actually cause you to feel worse, right? This is why most elite athletes always drink electrolyte infused sports drinks, right? Or hydration powders, things like that during practice. So a pro tip, guys, if you ever cramped in the middle of training, it's probably because your sodium, your potassium, or magnesium was just way too low. So some of the supplements, right? You can just take some of these supplements that will help you actually boost your hydration. These keep you fueled during training. So one thing I do like is carb electrolyte drinks, which that provides hydration and energy in one shot. All right, so these things can be used to sip it during training, like I said, every 15 to 20 minutes to make sure that you're staying hydrated. Some other options, might just be like a Gatorade Endurance, Scratch Labs, or Liquid IV. You guys know what's going to be in the link of this video. And then, we have amino acids, right? We have our BCAAs, our EAs. We've already talked about those in the previous videos. But your BCAAs and your EAs are your amino acid drinks. That's going to help you maintain your muscle during long, intense training sessions. So you want to sip this along with your water or in conjunction with your actual electrolytes. So a pro tip, right? 30 to 40 minutes, water is fine. But for longer, high intense exercises, that's well over 60 minutes, which most of you guys are training over 60 minutes. You want to upgrade your actual hydration during practice with your carb electrolyte drinks, plus your BCAAs, your EAs for maximum hydration, energy, and muscle protection. Quick recap. Let's keep it simple. 1, timing is everything. 15 to 20 minutes, always be sipping on your during practice hydration, right? 2, you want to have your electrolytes from these 3 key minerals: sodium, potassium, and magnesium. And 3, the optional supplements, your electrolyte carb powder drinks, your amino acids, your BCAAs and EAs, right? Guys, follow this system and you will have powerful strides. You will have better performance, faster recovery. You'll be less tired during practice. But if you want to skip it, you can go ahead. But if you want to be an elite athlete, make sure you're locking in these key factors of your performance, right? So one thing that we can do here is let's just go ahead and dive into the mental aspect, right? Now we're back into our mental aspect. So let's dive deeper into the pillar of elite mindset and talk about post-practice mindset reflection. So the goal is to just be able to reinforce progress, identify areas of growth, and mentally reset. Here's the truth. If you leave practice without reflecting, you'll miss an opportunity to get better and you'll repeat the same mistakes next time. But if you lock in these lessons, right, you'll walk away with the actual ability to get better. So 1, awareness of what worked. You need to know exactly what works so you can keep doing it. Clarity on what to fix, right? You have to have a clear focus on your next session and then confidence for the next time, right? You're not guessing what you're doing, what you need to do to get better next time. You already know. The best athletes are conscious athletes. They know exactly what they're doing. They know what they're doing right, and they know exactly what they're doing wrong. Your post-practice reflection is exactly what you need to be doing. It's not just about thinking, it's about strategic self-review. You need to have a strategic self-review. So these are the 3 habits that you can do to lock in your post-practice mental reflection. 1, implement a cool down ritual, right? What is a reflection, right? You want to be able to know, what did I accomplish today, right? How can I improve for tomorrow? And what did I learn about myself today? You can do this while stretching, foam rolling, or any other cooling down activity that you do. Just ask yourself those 3 activities. The reason why this ultimately works is because when you review what you just did, it sticks in your mind. You can identify areas to improve and prime your brain to look for solutions. When you learn everything about yourself, you can grow mentally, right, and emotionally as an athlete. Try doing this in the next session. I'm telling you guys, man, these are the secrets. If you do this, it's a game over for you. And then, have gratitude practice, right? Write down maybe 1 to 2 things that you are grateful for today's session, right? A way you can do is just take a moment to reflect on some self-positive talk, right? Something positive. Write it down in your journal or your notes app on your phone. An example might be like, I hit a personal best today in my 100-meter time, or I stayed consistent and finished every rep, right? The reason that this actually works is that gratitude changes your mind and helps you focus on wins, not just the flaws, right? It helps you build mental toughness. And number 3, you want to record your progress, right? Just 5 minutes in a journal can take you a long way. So, you want to track key data points, emotional reflection, and lessons learned. Use a physical journal app. Use a physical journal or app or the notes on your phone to log, right, key metrics. If you don't know your key metrics, like if you're in a program where your coach isn't telling you your sprint times, the reps completed, or the weights you need to lift, or any physical performance data, it's not going to get improved. We all know what's get measured gets improved. And then your emotional state, right? How did you feel during practice? Did you feel focused? Did you feel sharp at all? And then what lessons did you actually learn that came from today's practice? And then just a couple of supplements that will help you with your post-practice reflection. Everybody talks about ashwagandha nowadays. It just helps you maintain post-training stress, so you aren't, after practice, you're continuously having stress level rise. The faster you can lower that stress, the faster you can recover. And then there's magnesium that also supports relaxation post-practice, allowing for recovery and for a clearer mindset. Like I said before, post-practice, the main goal is to lower the amount of stress you have so that you can automatically get into that parasympathetic state. It's going to allow you to start recovering faster, guys. So, quick recap. You want to have a cool down routine, 5 to 10 minutes, whether that's while you're stretching or foam rolling. Ask yourself those 3 questions. What did I accomplish today? Where can I improve? What did I learn about myself? Do your guided practices, 1 to 2 minutes of reflection. Track your progress in the journal or your notes app. And then, just some of the optional supplements, right? So we're 3 days into this, so you can already see the depth that will allow you to take your training to the next level. And just another example of some nutrition that you guys can implement in your pre-training before practice. Pre-practice fuel, some apples, slices, and peanut butter, right? Or, your pre-practice positive talk, right? Before practice, I'm going to prepare a list of 3 to 4 affirmations to repeat during my sessions. I'm confident in my speed. I'm relaxed under pressure. These things are going to allow you to prime your mind to be ready to practice for the day. All right, guys, so now we're back with our 3rd workout, or day 3 Wednesday. So let's hop in. We got more acceleration work, push up to a sprint, 3 to 10 meters, broad jump into a sprint, 3 times 20 meters, and 4-point starts again, 3 times 30 meters. Now today, we're doing a little bit of a circuit, right? We have a 15-second run as hard as you can, run about 90% intensity, which is pretty close to as hard as you can. After you do that, you will rest for 1 minute. Then you do split jumps for 60 seconds, right? Split jumps, which are just jumping lunges, lunging low, jumping high for 60 seconds straight. Rest for 30 seconds, then go into squat jumps. Jump as high as you can from a squat position. Do that for 60 seconds, and then take 30 seconds rest. Then you have burpees for 60 seconds, and then take 30 seconds rest. And then you have another 15-second run, and then you have 1 minute rest after that. and then you will go back into another 15-second run, 1 minute rest, then you go into your squat jumps. So the way this works is you start off here, you start here, take your rest, do split jumps, take your rest, do squat jumps, take your rest, do burpees, take your rest, do 15-second run, take your rest, 1 minute rest, and then now will be one total round, and then you start back from the top, and then you do another 15-second run. All right, take your rest. So do these things, and you have 3 total rounds, but you have 3 total rounds to complete. Now we have to reflect on practice, right? What was the your post-practice reflection, building these pillars, right? As we said, we're going to focus on nutrition and mindset. We're going in great detail on these things. Did I use positive self-talk today? When did the negative thoughts start to creep in? And how did I address them? How can I shift these reflections into next practice? Right, works on replacing those negative thoughts that arise. You replace them with the affirmations that we talked about. Next practice, saying them at the start of each rep. And then some of the goals, right, is, just post-practice nutrition goals, right? We have our pillar nutrition. We want to just support recovery. So an example of that would be just something as simple as grilled chicken and half a cup of rice. So as you guys can see, man, we're not just telling you what to do. We're giving you examples of how you can implement it. And you know how we go, man. If you reached this point, we have another free bonus material for you guys. We're trying to give you as much things as you can have. And we have your free during practice mental strategy checklist, so that you can at least start to implement these things to see how can I get better during practice, and just go ahead and review this checklist to make sure that you're staying on top of it, guys. You can download it at the end of this video. And we're back with another one, guys. Remember, this is the sprinting blueprint. You don't just train for the finish line. You train every day for the moment leading up to it. Elite performance, guys, isn't built during training. I know you probably think it is, but it's built in your recovery as well. And that recovery starts the moment training ends. As soon as training ends, you have to focus on recovery. If you've ever felt slow, stiff, or the day after practice, it's not because you just worked so hard. It's ultimately because you didn't rehydrate properly after practice, or your recovery after practice just wasn't on point to the point where you was feeling good the next day. Hydration, we always talk about, it's not just about water. It's about refueling your body with the right fluids, the right electrolytes, and ultimately the recovery supplements. So today we're just going to go into your post-training protocols, but specifically a hydration blueprint, so that you guys can make sure you're doing everything you need to be recovered. So, your post-training hydration matters, guys. Post-training hydration matters, guys. So the goal of post-training hydration is simple. You want to rehydrate and promote recovery. When you sprint, every rep ultimately drains you of water, electrolytes, and your energy stores at the end of the day, period. And if you don't put them back, you will slow down recovery, 1. 2, you will increase your soreness, and 3, you will feel sluggish the next day. These are basic things that we have to focus on, guys. And if you aren't skipping through this video or these intros or giving you guys these foundational pillars, you're already going to see results regardless of this generic training plan. So make sure you guys are really paying attention and focusing on this. But hydration begins with the system like everything else in life. You need to replenish your fluids so you stay fresh for tomorrow's session. You need to restore electrolytes. Sodium, potassium, and magnesium are the essentials, right? Your energy drinks are going to be what help you perform in practice, but if you can actually focus on these electrolytes after practice, it's going to help you guys promote recovery, such as water, electrolytes, and other recovery supplements, right? To help you ultimately build your energy and reduce soreness. So if you're waking up sore or stiff, it's ultimately probably one of these things, guys. But it doesn't just start there, or it doesn't end there. Your timing is what matters the most as well. You need to drink 20 to 40 ounces of water within 1 hour after training. It works because after training, your body is primed to absorb water, electrolytes, and other nutrients. And ultimately, if you wait too long, you lose that advantage, right? You lose that window of recovery that's going to help you be ready the next practice. So pro tip, don't rely on thirst to tell you when to drink. I know we've talked about this before. If you're thirsty, it's already too late. So you can also implement things like recovery powders, right? You want to include things that combines electrolytes, carbs, and protein in one formula. You might want to use it by just mixing in 1 scoop into your recovery drink 30 to 60 minutes after training. Some of the best options out there are some scratch recovery, some precision hydration recovery mixes, and also tailwind recovery makes a good recovery powder. And then you can use your tart cherry juice to reduce inflammation post-practice to help you promote actual muscle recovery. Some people use this in just 8 to 12 ounces of water, and then they usually drink it within 30 minutes after training. That's the actual suggested time to drink a tart cherry juice. So that's that. And also, I will also keep in more supplements suggestions underneath this video, so you can just get a link to the ones that I use with the athletes and the people that I suggest to use them. So we got to move into the mental aspect. You guys know we're trying to cultivate these pillars, and this week is all about nutrition and mindset. So the purpose of mental discipline is ultimately simple, guys. You want to maintain focus, consistency in training, and practice and competition. Here's the harsh truth, right? Most athletes quit mentally way before their body can. I'm a victim of this, and I know a lot of people are as well. So some of the components of making sure that you are building mental discipline, you want to have a morning routine. You don't have to overcomplicate it, man. It can be just 5 minutes of meditation, a goal review. You can write down one to two key things for the day, but you want to get specific and not vague at all. And then another thing is just a gratitude practice, right? 1 to 2 things that you're grateful for that can be big or small as well. And why this works, right? The way you start your day ultimately controls your focus for the rest of it. If you wake up reactive, checking your social medias or reacting to text, your whole day is going to be reactive. But if you start with calm, clarity, and purpose, you will stay focused and calm and intentional all day long. So you can have anywhere between a 10 to 15 minute morning routine. Just make sure it's not too elaborate, and that's just really concise in fashion. Focus blocks are very important, right? Setting 90 minutes of uninterrupted work or training to build mental endurance. It's one of those things that once I learned how to do it, I can't ever go without it. So, how do you do it? You want to set a timer for 90 minutes and focus on one complete task. No distractions, no switching apps, no mental breaks. This will allow you to be able to have mental endurance. So 90 minutes of training sprints, skill development, or gym work. It can either be 90 minutes of studying, homework, or even learning sessions. So if you're constantly checking your phone, switching apps, or getting distracted, you never reach deep focus. And deep work is one of those skills that if you can stay focused for 90 minutes straight, your brain will adapt. Over time, mental stamina will grow, and you can focus longer and deeper than you ever have before. So just a couple mindset supplements. We have L-theanine, right? This supports focus and also allow you to have a calm focus. You can take it with 100 to 200 milligrams every morning or before training. And then, why it works is that L-theanine promotes alpha brainwaves, which are ultimately associated with calm and clear focus. It kind of also can help with the jitteriness that comes from caffeine if you decide to pair the two. Next, we have ashwagandha. Right? It reduces stress and supports mental balance, which help you stay cool under pressure. And we all know how much pressure is involved in this sport. So if you can maintain that cool, calm, and collective nature, it's ultimately going to benefit you in the long haul in terms of training. So just a quick recap. You can develop a morning routine, 10 to 15 minutes daily. Set focus blocks, 90 minutes of focus sessions, uninterrupted, completely focused on one complete task. And then we have our optional supplements as well. So let's go ahead and dive in, right? Let's go ahead and make sure we take control of our training because we've already set intentions with building on these other pillars. So, an example, we can have our pre-practice fuel. This time we're doing oatmeal and chia seeds. Oats provide slow digesting carbs, but it's a light to ensure that you don't feel heavy or full. And chia seeds offer a good source of fiber and a bit of omega-3s. And mindset, right? Action steps for your mindset can be set a goal to manage your energy and fatigue during the sessions. Example, I want to maintain focus every rep. I want to stay relaxed on that last rep, despite the fatigue that usually comes during those last reps. So, For the workout, acceleration work, we got 3 times 10 meters at 100% intensity from a standing start. We have falling starts, 3 times 20 meters at 100% intensity. And then 3-point starts, 3 times 30 meters at 100% intensity. All of these are still going to be building our actual work capacity. So let's just do walk back rest. Now the workout, 2 times 4 times 200. One set of 4 reps with 3 minutes rest in between. A goal time should be 75% of your PB. So if you are actually a 10-0 runner, you would do a 14 time, it'd be 14.29 of your 100 meter to 14.4. Then you just multiply that by 2. So I'm anywhere between 26.6 and 27 seconds, right? So I actually kind of round down there so I can hit that 26 to 27 pace. 2 sets of 4 reps as well with 3 minutes rep rest, and then the same thing, 75% of PB to help get our actual time. So guys, remember, this is all generic. These can only take you so far unless you get a custom diagnosis in your training. You need a custom plan. And then our post-practice pillar is that we can review our mindset, right? Did I manage my energy well? Because that's what we set the intention before practice. Where did I feel fatigue and how did I react? Was I able to stay relaxed during the latter parts of the workout? And next practice, can I plan strategies for fatigue management? Focus on breathing techniques or the other things like that when the fatigue actually sets in. Did I manage my energy well through the session? Where did I feel fatigued and how did I react to it? Was I able to stay relaxed? We're starting to actually reflect on our pre-practice mindset is what the whole goal is of the post-practice reflection. And then you set intentions for the next practice focus. So maybe you have a planned strategies for fatigue management. Focus on your breathing technique when actual fatigue sets in. And then your pillar of nutrition will be obviously to restore balance. Something as simple as, one protein smoothie that might include spinach, berries, almond milk, or even a protein powder. And you guys know I love to be able to give out gifts to you guys. So what we have here is a free mental drills and progress checking checklist for sprinters so that you guys can always make sure you're setting intention and you can at least have this accompanying PDF as you go throughout this course and our generic training so that you can just continuously build on these skills. In this video, we're going to go over day 5 or Friday of our sprint training. This is the sprinting blueprint. A strong foundation is a key for greatness and you have to build it right. So by now you guys should already know that we are doing a generic training plan, but what actually gives you the most results outside of training is building upon these pillars. And in this week we covered through nutrition and we're covering through mindset. We're really just scratching the surfaces on these. I can make an entire classroom module on implementing each one of these actual strategies, but I'm just trying to do the best that I can for you guys here today. So now we're going to talk into nighttime recovery. Sleep doesn't just recover your energy, it actually builds your muscles, guys. Every hour of sleep is a chance to repair and rebuild your muscles so that you can grow stronger. But here's a secret that most athletes don't know. What you eat before bedtime determines how well you recover overnight. Yes, what you eat before bedtime determines how well you recover overnight. So if you're waking up, the same symptoms, sore, tight, feeling tired, we got to make sure that we are at least locking in our nighttime recovery. So why does nighttime nutrition even matter for athletes? And it's really simple, right? We just want to support muscle repair and optimize overnight recovery. So why this actually matters is when you fall asleep, your body isn't off. It's actively rebuilding your muscles. It's replenishing glycogen and releasing growth hormone. Here's the catch. If your body runs out of nutrients during this recovery phase, while you're sleeping, your muscle repair will ultimately slow down. And that's why what you eat before bed plays a big role in how well you recover overnight. When you dial in your nighttime nutrition, 1, you support muscle repair. 2, you actually boost growth hormone production. And 3, you will enhance your sleep quality. The right nutrients improve relaxation, sleep depth, and total sleep time. So let's focus on the protein source. What you want is a slow digesting protein that feeds your muscles while you sleep. And how do you ultimately do it? Is that we have casein protein that we suggest to our athletes. It's a slow digesting protein. It's like a protein shake, and you just take it before bed. Although also, you want to incorporate things such as magnesium-rich foods for relaxation and recovery. These include almonds, spinach, or dark chocolate. It's got to be 85% or higher when it comes to dark chocolate. And then we have those optional supplements, right? Those zinc, magnesium, and vitamin B, also known as ZMA. This helps you promote recovery, boost your immune function, relaxes muscles, and also improve overall sleep quality. Then there's the CBD oil, right? This promotes relaxation and recovery. So these are two supplements that are optional, but if you can incorporate in your nighttime blueprint of a slow digesting protein, magnesium-rich foods, and then 3 of these optional supplements, you're going to start to see major benefits of how your ability is to recover overnight and how that affects your next day's training. Now, everybody wants to win, but runners truly know how to lose. Most athletes see failure as a wall, but us elite athletes and the people I'm in the circle with, we always say that, failure is what we actually try to find. We actively search failure because that's where we find the greatest level of growth. We ultimately see failure as a mirror. So when you fail, it's not the end of story, right? It's just feedback that you need in order to win next time. So how do you build resilience through failure? The purpose of building resilience is just to be able to actually handle failure. It's how you use failure ultimately as a fuel for growth. But here's the truth, every PR you set will build the foundation of failure. Every time you raise the bar, you're actually going to have to find more ways to fail so that you can actually pass that bar. Every new level requires you to reach a breakthrough, and breakthroughs come from breakdowns. So 1, resilience helps you with faster adjustments. Instead of just staying stuck, you can course correct even faster. You have emotional control. You can stay calm, clear-headed under pressure, which is exactly what we talk about is what you need to perform at a high level. And then there's a long-term growth from failure. So, these are 3 components that we need to use in order to build resilience through failure. 1, we need to have reflection. After setbacks, you need to analyze and extract lessons from every setback. Right after any setback, ask yourself 2 questions. What went well and what can I improve? And here's just a pro tip, guys. Don't just think about it, write it down. Like, you have to write it down. When you see your answers on paper, it becomes real. Keep a resilience journal, or you can just use it in your practice journal. So wherever you have a setback, you log it, you break it down, and then you build upon it for years and years. You can constantly getting better. 2, this is one of the most important things. You need to reframe your mindset. Focus on an actual mental shift that turns losses into a learning experience. And this is how you do it. You need to reframe failure by asking yourself. You need to ask yourself, how was this a step forward and not a defeat? What skills did I build from this? An example of a mental shift. If you have one of these older mindset that's holding you back, this might be what you might be thinking. I failed to hit my target time. I'm terrible at this. And then you can reframe that into a new mindset. I missed my time, but I learned that I need to improve my first 20 meters of my acceleration. So why it works, right? When you focus on a failure as the end result, you feel stuck. But when you focus on failure as a step forward, you realize it's just part of the process, guys. And then 3, we need to be able to have goal adjustments. We need to break down the long-term goals into smaller, achievable milestones. For example, we had an athlete come in running 11:28 on a good day, and he needed to run 10:4 to go D1. We did this within 3 weeks of him joining our program, from 11:28 to 10:4. So week 1, we just focused on actually breaking down what part of his races that he needed to do to get better. We put him through a sprint analysis, and it was clear. Week 1, we found that we need to improve his first 20 meters by 5/100th of a second. Then week 2, all we did was increase his stride frequency between 20 to 60 meters. And then week 3, all we did was refine his technique on the last 40 meters to finish. So any goal is actually possible as long as you have the ability to reframe your goals, right, and have goal adjustments so that we can achieve big goals in smaller steps. In some cases, even as simple as in 3 weeks. So let's dive into the next pillars of how we can have before practice. Pre-practice fuel, just have rice cakes, jam, or honey. Rice cakes are easy to digest. Like we talk about, we need our easy digestible carbs that provide us with quick energy. The jam or honey is just natural sugars that will help you boost your energy as well. And then a pillar of our mindset, an actionable goal, is to set to perform your drills or reps with consistency and form of execution. Just focus on maintaining running posture for all sprints. Now let's dive into the workout for Friday. This is going to be a pick your own workout because, like I said, this is not a customized sprint plan. So you can either do 2 sets of 6 reps at 60-meter hill sprints, and then you can have a 5-minute rep rest and then 10 minutes set rest. So you'd run 6 60s with 5 minutes rest in between, and then you would take a 10-minute set rest, and then you do that one more set. And then, or you can choose between 3 times 2 times 50 meters sled pulls at about 15% of your body weight. Take 5 minutes rep rest and then 10 minutes set rest, right? So that would be 3 sets of 2 reps of 50-meter sled pulls at 15% of your body weight. So that would be, you put 15% of your body weight. If you weigh 100 pounds, you'd put 15 pounds on the sled. Get down to a 3-point stance, run 50 meters, take 5 minutes rest, run 50 meters, take 10 minutes rest. And then you go and you complete that until you do 3 total sets. And then third, if you don't want to do the hills or the sleds, we can do 2 times 6 times 60 meters of bounding into a sprint. So you would perform 10 meters of bounds, emphasizing height and force, immediately followed by a 50-meter sprint or acceleration. And then just rest 5 minutes in between each 60-meter rep, and then take 10 minutes rest in between each set. So if you guys know anything about what we do now, is that we have to get into the weight room after the track. So what we have in weight training is a clean pull superset with a box jump. The clean pull should be 75% of your max, 2 sets of 3 to warm up, 4 sets of 5 on your actual clean pull are your working sets. And then obviously the box jumps are the same number of sets. So you do 4 sets of 5 box jumps immediately following the clean pull. Next, we go in the front squat. We're still doing these light. We're at 75% of your max. You'll warm up 2 sets of 5 reps. And then our working sets are just 4 sets of 4. Then we'll move in a dumbbell bench plus a barbell bent over. Both of these are 70% of your max. You just warm up 1 set of 6, and then your working sets would be 3 sets of 8 each. And then the core / bulletproofing is the same thing we've done earlier in the week. Hanging knee raise, 3 sets of 15, and then pistol squats, 4 sets of 4. We know we have to come to our post-practice reflection. Was I consistent in my form? That's the goal that we set before practice. Let's reflect on it. Where did my performance fluctuate and what caused it? Next practice, identify areas to improve consistency and consciously focus on posture every rep to build muscle memory. And then for nutrition, the goal will be just to enhance hydration this time. So 1 glass of coconut water and then have a turkey wrap so that we can actually replenish the carbs, replenish the protein, and a little bit of fat that comes with that as well. Now, if you guys know me, I always come bearing gifts. So stay tuned and see the next gift we have for you. And my gift to you guys is another bonus, another checklist for you, a nighttime nutrition for recovery checklist. So if you want to be able to recover better at night, just go ahead, download this checklist so that you can make sure you're hitting your basics when it comes. Make sure you're hitting your basics and your bases. You guys know me, I'm coming with the gifts. So what we have is a nighttime nutrition recovery checklist for sprinters. Just in case the video that we talked about in the video earlier, something might have been confusing. This is a good accompanying PDF to help you get your goals accomplished. Just follow the checklist, and that's all you guys have to do. So we're here with our first rest day, day 6. What we have here is just complete rest. Don't do anything. Maybe just kick back, play the game, or just try to do anything low demanding. So, what you can do is that I am here bearing gifts again. If you guys just want to just download this free ebook, we talked about building resilience yesterday. And in this ebook, it will give you some strategies that you guys can read through to how to build mental resilience each and every day of your training and apply it to life. And we're back. So Sunday, we have active recovery day. It can either be a 20-minute bike ride, a round of golf, a 40-minute walk, basketball game, or even a light lift. It's just as long as we're kind of starting the engine a little bit, getting it ready for tomorrow's training. Like every other day, guys, we have some really cool bonuses and free gifts for you. I have 3 free recipe books. So we talked a lot about nutrition, and in these 3 free books are the ones that you guys can use, make some meals out of them. Some really healthy meals are in these books, but they're also extremely tasty. Now, if you're going to eat healthy, right, and have a book, you kind of need to know how much to eat. So here goes another really cool gift for you guys. I'm also including a free downloadable nutrition tracker where it will tell you how many calories you need to eat. All you have to do is plug in a few things, a few components. It will tell you how much calories you need to eat to build muscle, to lose fat, or even just to maintain your weight. So yeah, go ahead and check out these free gifts from me to you. Spent a lot of time building this nutrition calculator. Spent a lot of time building out these recipes so that the athletes I work with can have everything they need. But also for you guys, right? Since I can't customize this stuff for you, I want to be able to give you just some of the tools that you can go ahead and build it out for yourself. All right, so you just completed week 1. We had a mouthful. We had a lot of information thrown at us, but that can't stop us. So let's just have a quick recap, right? What did we even go through over the first week of training? So we actually we introduced the 6 pillars of speed, right? By now you know that speed isn't random. We know that the results come from mastering these 6 specific areas: your movement specialist, your nutrition, your sleep, your recovery, your mindset, and your skill development, right? Over the first week, all we covered was your nutrition and your mindset, guys, right? So week 1, we focus on how we can fuel our body to train harder and recover faster. You also worked on some mental preparation strategies and learned how to lock in and focus before every sprint. So now we're going to move into part 2. And this week we're going to focus on recovery and sleep. So let's dive in and see what we got for us today. So recovery mastery. We need to elevate our sleep and rebuild for peak performance. So what we want to do for our weekly recovery practices. The whole purpose is to ensure recovery is cumulative and it can help prevent overtraining. So let's go ahead and look at some of our weekly habits. We need to take full rest days. By at least you saw Saturday was our full rest day this past week. Take 1 day off or perform low intensity activities, which is what we did on Sunday for our active recovery. What we also want to do this week is we want to review our sleep patterns, adjust routines so that our sleep quality cannot be poor. And then we want to have body maintenance. We haven't talked about that yet, but we want to perform maybe 30 to 60 minutes of foam rolling, massage, or mobility exercises. And then we want to incorporate contrast therapy, your hot or cold showers. And then we want to be able to review our recovery. We want to reflect on our energy levels, our muscle soreness, and sleep quality as a whole. And just a couple more supplements. We can look at our recovery powders, those things that include protein, carbs, and electrolytes post-practice. And then also recovery supplements. Turmeric is a really big one that the athletes that we use implement in their actual routine. It helps to reduce inflammation and support joint recovery. And like always, in the bottom of this, you will have a link to the video. And like always, to the bottom of this, you will have a link of the actual supplements that we use and other high-level athletes are using. So Monday, we're going to still build upon our nutrition and our mindset. So we want to pre-practice. We can use cottage cheese with some pineapple. That way we have an easy, fast digesting carb with some protein. And for some quick sugar and energy as well. Keep the portion small, though, so that you aren't feeling bloated. And then on our mental pillar, again, we can focus on mental toughness. Let's set some goals to challenge ourselves when you feel mentally or physically tired. And we want to push through fatigue, like we said previously, on that 3rd rep, or just stay strong even when mental performance drops. So we're going to run some 150s. So how do you find your 150 target time at different speeds? For example, if your personal best is 10 seconds, to calculate your 150 time at full speed, you want to multiply your actual PB times 1.5. So for me, as a 10-0 sprinter, theoretically, my fastest 150 would be 15 seconds flat. So that would be 100% effort. So today what we want to do is this. We'll keep it simple, but we want to be able to get some deep acceleration work now. We want to do a push-up to a sprint, 3 times 10 meters, walk back rest at 100% intensity, a broad jump into a 3 times 20 meter sprint, 100% intensity, walk back, rest. And then a 4-point start, 3 times 30 meters at 100% intensity. And then we want to take 5 minutes rest after that before we move into the block starts. So now we're actually in the block starts. At this point, I highly suggest you guys go back to the classroom and watch our sprint foundation course, and then go to movement mastery and look at how you should set up your blocks. Watch some of those acceleration videos so that these block starts can actually be at the highest level of performance that we need. So go ahead and do that now to make sure you have everything set and ready to go. Alright, so if you've actually watched that, what we have is 3 times 10 meters with 1 minute rest, 2 times 20 meters with 2 minutes rest, and 1 times 30 meters with 3 minutes rest. We just want to take complete rest, learn how to get out of the blocks, and accelerate from the blocks. Remember, full recovery is needed to actually have speed improvement. Don't go out there trying to go half recovery. That's not what we want to get accomplished in our block starts. So for our workout, we got 3 times 2 times 150 meters, which means we have 1 set of 2 reps with 3 minutes rep rest in between, and the goal is to hit 85% of our PB for 150. So for example, me being a 10.0 sprinter before, we saw that my personal best in theory for 150 meters should be 15 seconds flat. So at 85% effort, that would be 17.64 to 18 seconds. So you want to run 150, take 3 minutes rest, and then do another 150, take 5 minutes set rest, and then move into set 2. Set 2 would be another 2 reps at the goal PB time of 85% of a full-blown run at 15.0. So for me, 15.0 divided by 0.85 would give me a time between 17.64 to 18 seconds time. And then remember, we do 3 minutes rest in between 2 of those pairs, and then 5 minutes set rest. Then we'll move into set 3, which still has 2 reps and 3 minutes rep rest, except for now we want these to be faster, right? So we want them to be 90% of our PB time. For a 15-second PB, we'd want these to be divided by 0.90. They give us a new time range of 16.67 to 17 seconds flat to tell us our actual 150 time with 3 minutes rest. So let's go ahead and dive back deeper into our pillars of, or also known as our systems of speed. So far we've already talked about mindset, and we've already talked about nutrition. So let's build upon those and implement our recovery and sleep into them. So Monday, for mindset, how did I handle mental or physical fatigue? Did I push through, or did I give in mentally? How can I get stronger next time? And then, like we talk about, we want to build resilience, identify moments of weakness, and actually start focusing on that and visualizing to push through those tough parts for next practice. And then recovery, we want to be able to reflect, how's my energy levels after practice? And then the actions can be maybe include some light movements such as a short walk if I'm starting to feel sluggish post-practice. Then we can dive deeper into nutrition again. We want to have to support our muscle recovery post-practice. So let's have a tuna salad with some crackers. And then sleep. Am I going to bed and waking up at a consistent time? This is one of the first things that the athletes that we work with, we try to build them a consistent sleep and wake time so that their body can be adjusted to the time they go to sleep and the time they wake up, so that we can get on a consistent recovery schedule. And the action steps would be, set a bedtime alarm. Most of us have an alarm to wake up, but we don't have a time to when we say, okay, the alarm goes off, it's time to go to bed. This will help you regulate your body clock and ultimately help you recover. And you guys know how it goes. We got another bonus for you guys. Something to keep it simple, concise, and easily actionable. We have another PDF, another checklist for you. It's going to be on weekly recovery practice, and this is a checklist for your sprinters out there to make sure that if you follow these, weekly checklists, best practices, you're going to be recovered for the next day. So let's go deeper on our pre-bedtime sleep routine, right? So we talked about building a consistent wake and sleep time. What about our pre-bedtime routine, right? So what we want to do is have daily habits of wind down, relaxation, plus an environment that promotes sleep. For wind down, let's power down our devices or use blue light blockers at least an hour before bed. We know the effects of blue light on our sleep. And then we want to replace screen time with like some reading, journaling, or stretching. And then to dive deeper into relaxation, right? We want 5 to 10 minutes of maybe light yoga or static stretching just to release some of that tension before we go to bed. And then we can also do things like box breathing. Actually, you inhale for 4 seconds, hold for 4 seconds, release for 4 seconds, and then hold for 4 seconds. And then you will repeat that process. And then for environmental setup, we actually have our athletes try to keep their room between 65 to 68 degrees. We use dark and blackout curtains or an eye mask. We also tell them to put some lavender essential oil scents in their room just to, promote some more relaxation. Some of the supplements that they use is magnesium glycinate, melatonin 1 to 3 grams. Kind of stay away from melatonin. And like we talked about before, some of our tart cherry juice. There we go. We have a little bit more idea of just like what a bedtime routine looks like. So let's go ahead and dive in for Tuesday or day 2. Building upon our nutrition pillars as well, pre-practice, you can even try something like trail mix this time, right? It's light on nuts. Make sure it's light on nuts. Trail mix can also provide good carbs. It's a dried fruit, some protein with the nuts, and also a little bit of fat to help you. But don't have excess nuts, because that can help you slow you down a little bit when it comes with all that excess fat. Mindset, right? Let's analyze and focus pre-practice, right? Our pre-practice pillars are just important as our during practice pillars and our post-practice pillars. But how can we take action during practice to identify moments, where our focus lapses? So pre-practice, let's analyze focus and concentration. Here we go for the workout today. We have 400 meters the hard way. I want you to run 100 meters at 75% of your max pace. For example, if you run 10 seconds flat, run each one of these 100 meters in 12.5 seconds, and then walk back 50 meters for recovery, and then repeat this again. So run 100 meters, 12.5 pace per 100 meters. After you run 100 meters, you walk back 50 meters, and then from a walk back 50 meters, you run another 100 meters. So you would do that, run 100 meters, walk back 50 meters 7 times. After all the runs, take 5 minutes rest, and then you're going to move into your core and upper body circuit. We would have V-ups for 10 reps, and then push-ups for 20 reps. Then you go into crunches for 20 reps, and then push-ups for 18 reps. Then we have leg lifts for 30 reps. Then we have push-ups for 16 reps. Then we have toe touches for 40 reps, and then push-ups for 14 reps. Then you move into Russian twist for 50 reps, and then push-ups for 12 reps. This circuit is continuous. There's no rest. You go from ab to push-up to ab to push-up to ab to push-up to ab to push-up to ab to push-up, and you start back from the top, and there's 2 total rounds. Take the amount of time, track the amount of time it takes you to complete this so that you can try to beat it next time. And then post-practice, we still got to build on these pillars, guys, right? So what about skill development, right? Can we review our practice goals in journals? Journal down how practice went. See how you can improve on that goal. Mindset, right? Where did I lose focus? And how can I apply that focus on improving concentration throughout the entire session? Some of the pillars of recovery. Did I take enough time to rest post-practice? Did I dedicate 15, 30 minutes to quiet, restful activities post-practice? And then nutrition post-practice. We've already talked about pre-practice. Did I replenish my glycogen stores? I can do this through chicken breast and then some of those roasted vegetables, right? That's just an example of just post-practice nutrition. And then sleep, another pillar. Does my pre-bed routine help me wind down effectively? And maybe if you aren't including journal, the action step might be just, you can just include maybe 5 to 10 minutes of calming activities such as journal, stretching, or meditation. So we also aren't done there. We have to get into the weight room. So what we have for the weight room today is we have clean pull into a box jump. Instead of 75% of our 1 rep max, we move into 80%. 2 sets of 3 of our warm up, and then working sets, 5 sets of 3. Remember, we're doing clean pull into a superset of box jump. So after your clean pulls, walk directly into the box jump. Then we have front squat. Again, 80% of your max, 2 times 5 for your warm up, 4x4 for your working. Then we have dumbbell bench with bent over row. Instead of 75% or 70%, we're at 80%. Warm up 1 times 6 each. Working set 3 times 8 each arm. And then bulletproofing, we got hanging knee raise, 3 sets of 20, and pistol squats, 4 sets of 5. And you guys know we always got to include it. It's a checklist just to make sure that we're covering our bases and we can synthesize this information. So for my gift to you guys, I've made a pre-bedtime routine, sleep routine checklist for you sprinters to make sure you guys are recovering and being able to practice the rest of the week. Alright guys, we back, right? Wednesday, day 3, whatever way you want to call it. Here's a fact that might surprise you guys. By the time you feel thirsty, you're already probably dehydrated. So what happens? Your performance drops, your energy drops, and your speed starts to disappear. Elite sprinters don't want to feel thirsty. Alright, you don't want to feel thirsty. Stay ahead of hydration, stay ahead of dehydration with hydration strategies, guys. This strategy isn't just drink more water, it's about hydrating with a purpose. And today I'm going to show you how to master your during training hydration so that you can maintain peak performance and delay fatigue and finish every session as strong as you started. So far we know how to have pre-practice nutrition, we know how to have post-practice nutrition. Now let's dive into during practice hydration from our nutrition pillar. Then we're going to dive into another key of the sprinting blueprint. Your mind is the engine and your body is the whole vehicle, but both need the right care in order to perform. You want to always make sure your engine is performing, and you also want to make sure that your vehicle is ready to perform, guys. So let's dive right in. We got another good one for us today. During training hydration, why does it even matter, guys? The purpose is simple. You want to maintain performance and delay dehydration, guys. Every time you sprint, you sweat or breathe hard, your body loses water and electrolytes. And if you don't replace them, your muscles will get tired and your reaction will slow down and your power will drop. The goal is to stay ahead of dehydration so that you not react to it. So when you stay hydrated during training, you maintain peak power. We all want to do that. Your muscles stay strong, fast, and explosive. You delay fatigue. Your fatigue doesn't just hit you as fast as you're trying to run, so you can just finish as strong as you started. And it allows you to stay mentally sharp. Dehydration messes with your focus. It messes with your reaction time. So proper hydrations help you keep your mind clear and focused. So if you start waiting until the time that you feel the thirst to tell you when to drink, you're already behind. And today I'm going to show you how you can use timing to stay ahead of it. So let's dive in. Timing is everything. We always talk about it. What we do on the track has a time to it. How we replenish glycogen, how we structure our training has a time component to it. What we do in everything in life, everything in training is important to do it at the right time when it matters most, right? So timing, you want to be able to sip water or sports drink every 15 to 20 minutes during training. Don't ever go longer than that without at least drinking something, right? Whether it be water or sports drink. And you also want to incorporate some sort of electrolytes as you're doing that. And the reason why this works is that your body can absorb small amounts of water at a time. So if you drink too much at once, you probably have a sit in your stomach. We all had that feeling where you get those side cramps. So just use like a water bottle, right? Give yourself a little squeeze of a water bottle to track how much you're drinking and to see if you're actually finishing that bottle through practice. But some of the electrolytes, right, that's so important is that you want to get your sodium. This is going to help you control your muscle contractions. If you cramp, you're low on sodium. Potassium helps you maintain fluid balance in your muscles, guys. So if you're tight or cramping, you're low on potassium. And then magnesium. This helps you prevent muscle spasms and support your ultimate muscle recovery. If you only drink water, you will dilute your electrolytes in your body, which can actually cause you to feel worse, right? This is why most elite athletes always drink electrolyte infused sports drinks, right? Or hydration powders, things like that during practice. So a pro tip, guys, if you ever cramped in the middle of training, it's probably because your sodium, your potassium, or magnesium was just way too low. So some of the supplements, right? You can just take some of these supplements that will help you actually boost your hydration. These keep you fueled during training. So one thing I do like is carb electrolyte drinks, which that provides hydration and energy in one shot. All right, so these things can be used to sip it during training, like I said, every 15 to 20 minutes to make sure that you're staying hydrated. Some other options, might just be like a Gatorade Endurance, Scratch Labs, or Liquid IV. You guys know what's going to be in the link of this video. And then we have amino acids, right? We have our BCAAs, our EAs. We've already talked about those in the previous videos. But your BCAAs and your EAs are your amino acid drinks. That's going to help you maintain your muscle during long, intense training sessions. So you want to sip this along with your water, or in conjunction with your actual electrolytes. So a pro tip, right? 30 to 40 minutes, water is fine. But for longer, high intense exercises, that's well over 60 minutes, which most of you guys are training over 60 minutes. You want to upgrade your actual hydration during practice with your carb electrolyte drinks, plus your BCAAs, your EAs for maximum hydration, energy, and muscle protection. Quick recap. Let's keep it simple. 1, timing is everything. 15 to 20 minutes, always be sipping on your during practice hydration, right? 2, you want to have your electrolytes from these 3 key minerals: sodium, potassium, and magnesium. And 3, the optional supplements, your electrolyte carb powder drinks, your amino acids, your BCAAs and EAs, right? Guys, follow this system and you will have powerful strides. You will have better performance, faster recovery. You'll be less tired during practice. But if you want to skip it, you can go ahead. But if you want to be an elite athlete, make sure you're locking in these key factors of your performance, right? So one thing that we can do here is let's just go ahead and dive into the mental aspect, right? Now we're back into our mental aspect. So let's dive deeper into the pillar of elite mindset and talk about post-practice mindset reflection. So the goal is to just be able to reinforce progress, identify areas of growth, and mentally reset. Here's the truth. If you leave practice without reflecting, you'll miss an opportunity to get better and you'll repeat the same mistakes next time. But if you lock in these lessons, right, you'll walk away with the actual ability to get better. So 1, awareness of what works. You need to know exactly what works so you can keep doing it. Clarity on what to fix, right? You have to have a clear focus on your next session and then confidence for the next time, right? You're not guessing what you're doing, what you need to do to get better next time. You already know. The best athletes are conscious athletes. They know exactly what they're doing, they know what they're doing right, and they know exactly what they're doing wrong. Your post-practice reflection is exactly what you need to be doing. It's not just about thinking, it's about strategic self-review. You need to have a strategic self-review. So these are the 3 habits that you can do to lock in your post-practice mental reflection. 1, implement a cool down ritual, right? What is a reflection, right? You want to be able to know, what did I accomplish today, right? How can I improve for tomorrow? What did I learn about myself today? You can do this while stretching, foam rolling, or any other cooling down activity that you do. Just ask yourself those 3 activities. The reason why this ultimately works is because when you review what you just did, it sticks in your mind. You can identify areas to improve and prime your brain to look for solutions. When you learn everything about yourself, you can grow mentally, right, and emotionally as an athlete. Try doing this in the next session. I'm telling you guys, man, these are the secrets. If you do this, it's a game over for you. And then, have gratitude practice, right? Write down maybe 1 to 2 things that you are grateful for today's session, right? And what you can do is just take a moment to reflect on some self-positive talk, right? Something positive. Write it down in your journal or your notes app on your phone. An example might be like, I hit a personal best today in my 100-meter time, or I stayed consistent and finished every rep, right? The reason that this actually works is that gratitude changes your mind and helps you focus on wins, not just the flaws, right? It helps you build mental toughness. And number 3, you want to record your progress, right? Just 5 minutes in a journal can take you a long way. So, you want to track key data points, emotional reflection, and lessons learned. Use a physical journal app. Use a physical journal or app or the notes on your phone to log, right? Key metrics. If you don't know your key metrics, like if you're in a program where your coach isn't telling you your sprint times, the reps completed, or the weights you need to lift, or any physical performance data, it's not going to get improved. We all know what's get measured gets improved. And then your emotional state, right? How did you feel during practice? Did you feel focused? Did you feel sharp at all? And then what lessons did you actually learn that came from today's practice? And then just a couple of supplements that will help you with your post-practice reflection. Everybody talks about ashwagandha nowadays. It just helps you maintain post-training stress, so you aren't, after practice, you're continuously having stress level rise. The faster you can lower that stress, the faster you can recover. And then there's magnesium that also supports relaxation post-practice, allowing for recovery and for a clearer mindset. Like I said before, post-practice, the main goal is to lower the amount of stress you have so that you can automatically get into that parasympathetic state. It's going to allow you to start recovering faster, guys. So, quick recap. You want to have a cool down routine, 5 to 10 minutes, whether that's while you're stretching or foam rolling. Ask yourself those 3 questions. What did I accomplish today? Where can I improve? What did I learn about myself? Do your guided practices, 1 to 2 minutes of reflection. Track your progress in a journal or your notes app. And then, just some of the optional supplements, right? So we're 3 days into this, so you can already see the depth that will allow you to take your training to the next level. And just another example of some nutrition that you guys can implement in your pre-training before practice. Pre-practice fuel, some apples, slices, and peanut butter. Right? Or, your pre-practice positive talk, right? Before practice, I'm going to prepare a list of 3 to 4 affirmations to repeat during my sessions. I'm confident in my speed. I'm relaxed under pressure. These things are going to allow you to prime your mind to be ready to practice for the day. All right, guys, so now we're back with our third workout, or day 3, Wednesday. So let's hop in. We got more acceleration work, push up to a sprint, 3 to 10 meters, broad jump into a sprint, 3 times 20 meters, and 4-point starts again, 3 times 30 meters. Now today, we're doing a little bit of a circuit, right? We have a 15-second run as hard as you can, run about 90% intensity, which is pretty close to as hard as you can. After you do that, you will rest for 1 minute. Then you do split jumps for 60 seconds, right? Split jumps, which are just jumping lunges, lunging low, jumping high for 60 seconds straight. Rest for 30 seconds, then go into squat jumps. Jump as high as you can from a squat position. Do that for 60 seconds, and then take 30 seconds rest. Then you have burpees for 60 seconds, and then take 30 seconds rest. And then you have another 15-second run, and then you have 1 minute rest after that. And then you will go back into another 15-second run, 1 minute rest, then you go into your squat jumps. So the way this works is you start off here, you start here, take your rest, do split jumps, take your rest, do squat jumps, take your rest, do burpees, take your rest, do 15-second run, take your rest, 1 minute rest, and then now it'll be 1 total round, and then you start back from the top, and then you do another 15-second run. Right, take your rest. So do these things, and you have 3 total rounds, but you have 3 total rounds to complete. Now we have to reflect on practice, right? What was your post-practice reflection, building these pillars, right? As we said, we're going to focus on nutrition and mindset. We're going in great detail on these things. Did I use positive self-talk today? When did the negative thoughts start to creep in, and how did I address them? How can I shift these reflections into next practice? Right, works on replacing those negative thoughts that arise. You replace them with the affirmations that we talked about. Next practice, saying them at the start of each rep. And then some of the goals, right, is just post-practice nutrition goals. Right, we have our pillar nutrition. We want to just support recovery. So an example of that would be just something as simple as grilled chicken and half a cup of rice. So as you guys can see, man, we're not just telling you what to do. We're giving you examples of how you can implement it. And you know how we go, man. If you reached this point, we have another free bonus material for you guys. We're trying to give you as much things as you can have. And we have your free during practice mental strategy checklist, so that you can at least start to implement these things to see how can I get better during practice, and just go ahead and review this checklist to make sure that you're staying on top of it, guys. You can download it at the end of this video. Let's get it, man. This is exciting times. Thursday. Remember, we don't rise to the level of our goals. We fall to the level of the systems we have in place. So if you want to be successful, you need to have a successful system that's proven to help you win. So let's go ahead and dive into building upon these systems. So we want to still improve our recovery. So we still need to elevate sleep, and we need to rebuild for peak performance. So this is what we call midday recovery strategies. Incorporate light recovery habits throughout the day to help improve your energy and focus. Take active recovery 5 to 10 minutes. Every hour, take a walk to reduce stiffness and inflammation. Incorporate light mobility drills such as stretching during breaks, right? If you are someone who's in a computer, or some of our college athletes or even some of our professional athletes we train, they go to the office after they get done working out all day and they need to go incorporate some of these light walks. You can take a nap. 10 to 20 minutes is a power nap to help you refocus and feel refreshed, but also give you a little bit more energy in that tank as well. And then we want to do some hydration strategies. You want to track your water intake, and you really, bare minimum as an athlete, you want to drink half of your body weight in ounces. If I'm a 200-pound man, I want to drink a minimum of 100 ounces of water and add electrolytes. If you sweat super heavy, you should always be having electrolytes in general, though. Some of these electrolyte supplements can be your Element T. Those mixes are good for you and help replenish the sweat loss. And then some of those adaptogens, I don't always suggest adaptogens because it's kind of a little bit of an area that's not super studied. So this is not doctor advice or would you call this medical professional advice. So, but adaptogens can help recover and help you overall reduce some of the overall fatigue as an athlete. And then we can move into our pre-practice pillars, right? So you want to go and get a smoothie, right? Get banana, get spinach, protein powder, and almond milk. A smoothie is easily digestible and provides a simple blend of carbs, proteins, and other micronutrients that might come from spinach. And then your mindset. We want to reframe negative thoughts. We all have them, but we need to find out a way. How can we reframe them? During practice, if you experience a setback or even just like a poor performance on a rep, immediately reframe those thoughts just like that and reframe it for the next rep. This is a learning opportunity. It's just one rep. Next rep, I'll focus on X. I will always improve. Let's dive into training. Today we got 6 times 200 with decreasing rest. These are all at 70% of your PB. So you take 1 minute, you take 1 rep and run 70% of your PB. So if you are a 10 flat, go ahead and do this at 28 to 28.5 pace, right? 70%, 3 minutes rest. After that, you'll do another run because it's 6 of them, right? 28 to 28.5 range, and then go down to 2 minutes and 30 seconds rest. And then the third rep would be the same time range, 28 to 28.5, then take 2 minutes rest, and then go down to the fourth rep, same time range, 28 to 28.5, take a 90 seconds rest, go down to rep 5, right? And then go from there and take the same rep range, 28 to 28.5 rep range for time rep range, take 1 minute rest, and then try to hit that same time at set 6. No rest, right? Obviously, that's the last rep. And then after that, we'll go ahead and dive into what's next. We have to go into the weight room after that, right? So we got deadlift with a box jump pairing. Warm up 2x3 warm up sets, and then the working sets. 4 sets of 5 reps, 80% of your max on your deadlift, and then pair that with a box jump. These box jumps have to be maximal intent. Then we'll have back squat plus dumbbell jump squat plus body weight jump squat, right? So you do a back squat, 4 reps, then go into dumbbell weighted jump squats, 4 reps, then go into body weight jump squats, 4 reps, right? Back squat, weighted dumbbell jump squats, and then no weight jump squats. So these progressively, like the squats, and then the dumbbell weighted jump squats, and then the body weight jump squats. We want to continuously try to jump as high as we can with maximal intent, right? Best case scenario, you take 30 seconds in between each one of these and go hit another one. 4 reps on the dumbbell jump squats, obviously, and 4 reps on the jump squats without dumbbells, right? Just body weight. The back squat still needs to be 80% of your 1 rep max. Bench press, plus clap push-up, right? We have 75% of your bench press, right, for 3 sets of 8 reps after you do 1x6 warm-up set. And then your clap push-ups are also paired with your bench press. 8 reps of those as well. Then for your core / bulletproofing, right, we're just going to go ahead and do your hanging knees raise and pistol squats again. But we need to reflect on our post-practice pillars here, guys. So, skill development, reviewing your practice journal, journal down how practice went. You got to always be reflecting in that journal. And did I experience those negative thoughts? How did I reframe it? What was the outcome? In the next practice, focus on reframing those negative thoughts. I'll quickly focus on improving the next rep. And then your overall pillar for recovery. Am I following my recovery plan? Did I make the necessary adjustments to meet my recovery goals? Your post-practice nutrition, maybe such as, some people do like a handful of nuts. I suggest 1 serving of nuts is a handful, and throw that in there with a protein shake. And sleep, weighted blanket and blackout shades. Am I getting too much screen time before bed? That would be a reflection thought. And then the action would be stop using the device 1 hour before bed or using blue light blocker glasses. So guys, that's what it is for Thursday, man. I hope you guys are feeling well. This was a tough workout. But remember, we got to recover so we can come back and hit it again on Friday. Now, if you want to actually download this midday recovery strategy checklist for sprinters, you know what to do. You click the link and just download it, bro. That's all you got to do so you can make sure you are improving midday recovery as well. Good time to be a sprinter in Sprint University. Welcome back, guys, man. It's a great time. Let's keep training. Let's keep stacking these days, and let's see if we can keep getting better. All right, man. So we know how we do it. We got to go ahead and take a dive into this. What is our evening reflection and reset? So mentally and physically prepare for the next day. You want to create some nightly habits, right? So some things that we can do is just write down 2 to 3 wins of the day and also 2 to 3 areas of improvement. Let's evaluate sleep quality and energy from the night before to see what we need to tweak in our actual sleep routine. And then we can start to prepare. Let's pack our training gear. Let's set those alarms and let's plan the meals for the next day. And one of the most important things, right, is to visualize a successful session. See what you want to achieve and then go out and do it in the next training session. So our pre-practice pillars based off nutrition, we can have some pita bread with hummus and even throw in some cucumbers in there. And then our pillars pre-practice for mindset, let's focus on technique, right? Set one goal to execute maybe a form such as maybe striking directly underneath you every rep. Set that as a goal. An example might be today I'll focus on keeping my arms relaxed and driving my knees during the sprints. So what we have for training today is, how we do it. You pick which one you want. You can either do 2x6 80-meter hill sprints at 5 minutes rep rest and then 10 minutes set rest, or you can do 3x2 x 50-meter sled pulls at 20% of your body weight, take 5-minute rep rest and 8 minutes set rest, or do 2x6 x 70 meters with a 15 meters of bounding into a 55-meter sprint. So that would be performing balance for 15 meters, emphasizing height and force, followed by a 50-meter sprint, right, or acceleration. Take 5 minutes rep rest between each 70-meter rep, and then take 10 minutes between each actual set. Then we go into our post-practice, right, pillars. What we want to do is continue to refine our skill development. We can review our practice goals in the journal, write down what went well, and what we can see to improve on our goal. Then we can go ahead and dive into the mindset pillar again. Did I maintain focus on my technique throughout the session? Which drills felt more fluid and what needed a little bit more attention? Because you kind of know what feels right and doesn't, right? And then identify one technical cue to refine further. I want to drive my knees higher during the acceleration phase. Recovery pillar, right? Did I notice that my did I notice any warning signs of potential injury? Right? You need to become conscious of potential injury warning signs in your own body. And then, action. Maybe address those minor aches early with rest or specific exercises. Nutrition, right? We want to restore strength. Let's go have some ground turkey and some sweet potatoes. And then for pillar, we already did the weighted blanket. Now we tried the blackout shades. Now let's throw in maybe a warm Epsom salt bath before bedtime. And then you can reflect, am I eating or drinking anything that might disrupt my sleep? So don't drink any Celsius, right, when you're about to go to bed. Right? So no coffee after 1 p.m. And then avoid heavy meals, right? Slash that might be for some people. I mean, a heavy meal is relative, right? But you don't want to have any heavy meals before bedtime. Avoid that caffeine and sugar around 3 to 4 hours before bedtime. And you guys know how we do it, man. We have our checklist for you guys, right? Our evening reflection and reset checklist for sprinters. Go ahead and download it so we can make sure we're locking this in. By now, you're probably begging for Saturday to occur. We have complete rest, right? So don't do anything, just chill. Trust me, right? And then you got a couple bonuses for you guys, right? We got our free ebooks on the power of flexibility and mobility. And then the perseverance, right? The power of perseverance and resilience. And then we have our ebook on injury prevention. So go ahead, download it, right? These are free materials for you guys so that you can just keep improving and getting better each and every day. You're going to absolutely love this one. Sunday, another day for active recovery. You know the drill. But as an extra bonus for you guys, man, this is going to be killer. I haven't included a sprint time predictor, right? So what you can do is you can enter your sprint time, right? You can enter, some of your practice metrics in this actual Excel sheet, and it will give you a predictor of what time you can expect to run in your 100. Yes, man, this is like crazy stuff. Like I said, people are going to hate that I'm giving this stuff away, but, at the end of the day, I get better results implementing these tools with the athletes on a one-on-one basis. So giving out the tools away, I'm not afraid ultimately. So, and then we have a personal best tracker as well that you can download in the description. See you guys next week, and I hope you enjoyed this week of training. Yo, man, who's ready to get faster? I hope you enjoyed those first 2 weeks of training. Because remember, on race day, everybody wants to win. And you don't rise to the level of your goals. You ultimately fall to the level of your systems and preparedness. So far, we've covered nutrition. We've lightly covered recovery. We kind of covered sleep. We went a little bit over mindset. So we've dived into some of those systems for speed. And this week, we're going to actually start to cover your movement specialist and skill development so that we can ultimately have sprinting success. So let's dive in to Monday's training. So the foundation of skill development. You need to have a strong foundation of skill development. So if you can build the basic movement patterns to help support explosive athletic movement, you will be well on your way to having the foundation for your skill development. So what does this mean? You need to perfect the basics. You need to practice your fundamental drills daily, right? Your A skips, your B skips, your high knees. This will help you refine your biomechanics. And remember, slow is smooth, but smooth is fast. Focus on executing drills at maybe a slower speed and perfecting it with form, then gradually increase intensity. If you need to film yourself, record your movements to spot those inefficiencies, but also to ensure that you can have proper technique. Ask yourself, am I truly optimizing every movement for power and speed? And remember, a trained eye can help identify flaws that you may not notice. And the truth is that even the best athletes, from Ronaldo to Usain to some of the greatest athletes of all time, they need a coach to help refine their skills and perfect their movements. So, with that being said, you know how we do this. We got a checklist for you at the end of this video. You can go ahead and download it so you can go ahead and get started on building skill development today. But before we get into the speed training, let's go ahead and look at the skill development formula. Right? You need to adopt adaptive skills. We need to develop adaptive skills. The purpose is to train and perform flawlessly, right? Even in unpredictable, evolving scenarios. For example, some of the habits you might want to incorporate is reaction-based exercises, right? Responding to verbal cues, visual cues during your start. This is going to help you with your reaction time ultimately at the end of the day. An example might be just partner claps or shout commands to stimulate those competition demands, but also increase your actual ability to react well. And then controlled chaos. As a coach and as athletes, right, there's going to be chaos all the time. But if you can introduce slight disturbances or obstacles during your drills, during your sprints, during practice, it's going to allow you to mimic those real world challenges and ultimately allow you to stay focused. Then skill application. If it's relevant, and in some cases in sprinting, you might need to simulate conditions, right? Practice in the rain, do relay handoffs under pressure, things like that. And it's also important to have guidance in this, is because coaches can help design drills and help you prepare for those unpredictable environments that can help you improve, because you never know when they're going to come. And guidance will ultimately ensure that you remain efficient under chaotic conditions, reducing the risk of injury or any possible errors. So let's go ahead and dive into Monday's training. But we had to do our pre-practice pillars first. So pre-practice fuel could be something as simple as a protein bar, low in sugar, but also high in carbs. A whey protein bar or a protein bar is just a good balance of carbs and protein. They're usually low in fat and sugars, but they can also be a convenient option for on the go, and it's just a good portable snack to have before practice. Now, your pre-practice mindset to build off of this pillar. You can commit to effort. Decide to give 100% effort, even in the challenging moments. No matter how tough it gets today, I'll finish every rep strong. That's a commitment you can make to yourself. A circuit for today's training. It's important to do this circuit before you actually do your sprint work, so that you can carry fatigue into your legs and learn how to train under fatigue. So let's get into the circuit before your speed work today. Well, I guess sprint work today. You run for 30 seconds, take 1 minute rest. Go into hurdle hops or jump squats for 30 seconds. So if you do hurdle hops, set up 5 hurdles, jump over them, turn around, walk, jog to the front, and jump over them again. Turn around, jog over to the front, jump again. Do that for 30 seconds. It's important that you always jump the hurdles in a direction that if you hit it, it falls forward. So don't just turn around and jump back, because it is extremely dangerous of an exercise, and it is not worth risking injury for the laziness of not just jogging around and doing it again. Or you can do squat jumps in place for 30 seconds, rest for 1 minute, do split jumps for 30 seconds, rest for 1 minute, then do another 30-second run, take 1 minute rest. Do this for 2 total rounds. So your 30 seconds run at the end, 1 minute rest, then go back to the top and do another 30-second run. Then you do that 2 total rounds, take 5 minutes rest after the circuit, then immediately move into the sprint work. The sprint work is going to be 2 times 150, right? With 3 minute rep rest. And the goal is to hit this at 70% of your PB time. So for me, a 15-second 150, that would put me around 21 to 21.4 to 21.8 for the 150 times. So hit that, then you take a 3 minutes rest. That would be it for Monday's workout. But your post-practice actual skill development, right? Have I tracked and measured my progress in my sprint times, acceleration, or movement metrics? If you're not tracking, you're slacking and you're not making data-based decisions. And data-based decisions are emotional decisions, which will lead you to making bad decisions. All right. So review your performance data with their specialists to adjust the training plans and to set new goals. If you aren't actively testing and knowing where you are in performance or knowing even what metrics to test, you're going to be leaving a lot of speed on the table. Right? So consistent assessment ensures that training is aligned with your progress and keeping skill development on track. So your post-practice reflection. Did I give full effort in every rep, or was there moments I held back? And how did I push through those fatigue or discomfort moments? You take that post-practice reflection and set goals for next practice. You want to maintain effort through the final reps, push through the last 10 meters of each sprint, right? Recovery. Did I allow my muscles to cool down properly? An action might be, add light jogging or dynamic stretching post-practice. And then your post-practice nutrition, right? The goal is enhanced recovery. So you can have something as simple as hummus or whole grain pitas. And then, for sleep, aim to add an extra 30 minutes of sleep every night. Because, if you can add an extra 30 minutes of sleep every night, it's going to be easier to hit better times of practice and recover better. And the way you can reflect this is my mind, is my mind calm and ready for sleep? If not, right, maybe practice some deep breathing and maybe do some progressive muscle relaxation or even just guided sleep meditations for 5 minutes. All right, guys, that was it for Monday's training, right? Building on these pillars, adding more things in our bag so that you can be the best athlete you can possibly be. Let's do it. Movement mastery, right, guys? Advanced movement patterns. The goal here is just to develop control, balance, and coordination to perform at an elite level. So some of these things will incorporate your plyometric drills, movement, efficiency, and dynamic agility work. So plyometric would be some things that can incorporate like single leg bounds, your broad jumps, your lateral hops to help with the advanced movement patterns. Maximum efficiency. Well, movement efficiency. We want to focus on minimizing those wasted motions during drills because every movement should serve a purpose. And then dynamic agility work. Practice cone drills, ladder work, reactive drills to improve quickness and decision making. And why guidance matters? Because you need to have personalized feedback to enhance your efficiency, or ultimately you won't know how to improve your plyometric drills, your movement efficiency, or your dynamic agility. A coach can help prescribe drills tailored to your weakness to help accelerate the progress because they already know what the next step for you should be, and they should know when that progression actually occurs. The drill, we have a checklist, some more things that you can have at the end of this video at the bottom for you to download. All right. Now, we're still on skill development, such an important pillar. Precision training for skill development. The whole purpose is to enhance control and accuracy in performing specific skills under varied conditions. It's a mouthful. But long story short, the whole habit here that you want to do is you want to variable practice. You want to focus on weak points and have mindful reps. So if you want to perform the same skill in different scenarios, example, stride frequency, changing that in various starting positions, you will see, we do push-ups to a sprint. We do broad jumps to a sprint, right? So we're doing variable practices, but also over a broad range of skills, but still trying to incorporate specific skill development. So that's why we vary those starting positions. That's why we do multiple different positions in such things as acceleration or max velocity work. And the whole goal here is to focus on weak points, right? You can spend extra time on your least efficient movements. So what that means is, right, if you have a slow start, you can correct the slow start. It might be from your overrate or it might be from your over rotating hips. But if you want to correct your slow start, you need to figure out how you can spend time to fix those inefficiencies in your movement. So you need to focus on your weak points. And then mindful reps. Perform each repetition with full mental focus, visualizing success before the actual execution. So why does guidance actually matter? A coach can help create those personalized drills to help target those weak points that we just mentioned. Expert feedback accelerates the transition from being an average to really exceptional athlete. So, with that being the case, we have the checklist for this as well. But let's dive into Tuesday's training. So, boom, for Tuesday, what about our pre-practice pillars? Maybe for pre-practice fuel, you can focus on some chia pudding made with almond milk and topped with berries. Sounds delicious, huh? Chia seeds will help provide that fiber and those omega-3s, while the almond milk and berries offer a very light but also refreshing source of carbs mixed in with those antioxidants. But what about your pre-practice mindset? So sometimes you need to just emphasize progress over perfection. An example would be today is about building small wins and not being perfect. Let's talk about actually training for today. Today we have some acceleration work. Who doesn't love that? So kind of like I said earlier, doing those variable positions, we're going to push up into a sprint, 10 meters, 3 times 10, 100% intensity. Let's crank it up, huh? Then we have a broad jump into a sprint, 3 times 20, 100% intensity. 4-point starts into a 3-point, actually your 4-point start, but 3 times 30 meters, 100% intensity, 3 minutes rest in between each 30 meters. Then we have the block starts. Still same rest, right? 1 minute per 10 meters of rest. So 3 times 10 meters, walk back rest, 2 times 20, and then 1 times 30. Now we're getting into some more speed work. We got 2 times 4 times 60 meters at approximately 97% of your fastest 60-meter time. So for an example for me, I run 6.5 currently in my 60. 97% of that would be 6.70 or faster. You want to do this 4 times in a row, resting about 5 minutes in between each run. Take about 10 minutes break and then repeat this one more time. Keep track of when your time falls off, right? Because this is sprinting. So you need to keep track of, okay, maybe after the 3rd or 4th set, my time drastically changed. So this is how we can actually continuously improve. And then we got to do our post-practice pillar reflection. So skill development. Utilize video analysis. Do I know how my form and technique look during sprint drills? If you don't, you should probably videotape it. And then take some reflection on it. Do I know how to correct my form? And then you want to take the action steps, right? You might need to record your sprints. And just know that the importance of recording your sprints will help you provide visual breakdown of your mechanics, helping you to correct movements and connect the patterns to real-time corrections, the movement patterns that you want to have corrected. And then your mindset. Post-practice reflection can be something as simple as, did I stay patient and trust the process, even during difficult drills? And what small improvements did I notice? Celebrate incremental progress, though, right? Focus on the long-term effect and focus on improving yourself over periods of time and not be so harsh on yourself in the day-to-day. So, right, then we can go ahead and talk about actual recovery. Did I prioritize eating within that 30-minute post-practice window? And the goal might be just to actually hit that 30-minute post-practice window. So post-practice nutrition. Combine protein and healthy fats, such as your grilled fish tacos. Maybe throwing a little corn tortillas and salsa in there as well. Sounds good, huh? I bet you're wondering what the recipes are like. Well, I guess you can take a look one day, right? But the pillar of sleep. Am I taking steps to cool down even after working out? You might be wondering, how does this have anything to do with sleep? A proper cool down will put you in a space of low CNS. How would I say this? Not low CNS, a parasympathetic state, which will allow you to have better rest and allow you to sleep better. That's why you need to focus on taking cool down steps. But another action step might be take a warm shower or bath to help relax your muscles and pretty much lower your body temperature. Right? So as you take a hot shower, it will help get your body at an appropriate temperature so that you can relax and fall into sleep. I'll see you guys in the next Wednesday. Let's knock it out. So, your pre-practice fuel, just go with some instant grits, right? Quaker instant grits, something light, another complex carb to help fuel your performance. Now, I want you to cultivate gratitude for your pillar mindset pre-practice. Appreciate the opportunity to train and grow. An example of this might be, I'll train with gratitude knowing that every rep gets me closer to my goals. Excuse me. Let's get into the workout. So we have some acceleration work. We're going to do a push-up to a sprint 3 times, 10 meters, 85% intensity. Walk back rest. Another push-up to a sprint. Another push-up to a sprint. Then we'll do a broad jump into a 20-meter acceleration. 85% intensity with walk back rest. Broad jump, accelerate. So we're transitioning horizontal force into horizontal rate of force. Then we'll do a 4-point stance, 3 times 30 meters, 85% intensity, 4-point stance, walk back rest. Then we'll go into the actual block starts. 3 times 10 meters, 85% intensity, 3 times 20, 2 times 20, 85% intensity, and 1 times 30 at 85% intensity. Take 5 minutes rest, and then you'll move into the champion circuit. This is when you go for a 15-minute run. Run hard for 15 seconds. Not 15 minutes, 15-second run hard. Rest for 1 minute, then move into split jumps, jumping lunges, right? Either split jumps or also known as jumping lunges. Do this for 60 seconds. Rest 30 seconds, and then go into squat jumps. Jump as high as you can from a squat. Do this for 60 total seconds. Rest 30 seconds, then go into burpees. From there, you would then do that, obviously, for 60 seconds. Then you take 30 seconds rest, and then you do another 15-second run. And after that, you do 1 minute rest, and you do this total 2 times, 2 total sets. So yes, you end with a run, and then you begin with another run. That's the championship circuit. 15-second run, split jumps, squat jumps, burpees, 15-second run, 1 minute rest. Then you go back up to the top, do another 15-second run. You complete that total circuit 2 times. Now, post-practice, pillar development. What about skill development? Did I have intentional repetitions guided by experts? Am I reinforcing good habits or bad habits? If you don't know, you probably aren't having guided expertise. Train under a watchful eye, right? Someone who can ensure that every reps build better mechanics and eliminate inefficiencies. The importance, unsupervised reps can solidify poor habits, but specialists can help guide training to ensure every movement can contribute to long-term improvement. Pillar mindset. Post-practice reflection. Did I approach today's session with a grateful mindset? How did gratitude impact my energy and focus during practice? Next practice. Maybe use gratitude to help fuel your energy through those tough moments. Man, I'm so tired, but I'm so grateful to be here, right? Approach every opportunity to train, even if it's hard drills. Appreciate every opportunity to train, right? And then recovery, reflect. Did I feel stiff during practice or after practice? Then some action steps might be to include exercises to improve, those mobility exercises to improve joint health. Another goal, post your post practice nutrition. So we're still building off of these pillars. The goal is to support recovery and glycogen. So maybe some stir fry shrimp with some brown rice. Sounds good to me. And then your pillar. Maybe eliminate blue light 1 hour before bed and reflect. Am I using supplements to help enhance my sleep quality? You can use magnesium glycinate, tart cherry juice, or melatonin if necessary. This is not medical advice. I'll see you guys in the next day's training. Back into it, man. Let's start learning more about movement mastery and how this is so vital to your speed. Building explosiveness and speed, right? The purpose is really just to train for maximal force production and transfer it into explosive athletic movements, and in this case, sprinting movements. So maybe some of the habits you can do is just sprint specific strength. Focus on those explosive lifts like power cleans, deadlifts, squats, resisted sprints. Explosive starts can help you, be better if you actually drill your explosive starts through 10-meter accelerations with focusing 100% on technique. Now, proper programming will ensure that you're balancing intensity and recovery. And a mentor can help teach advanced techniques to help maximize speed while avoiding injury. So skill development formula, right? You need to unlock precision. This is really the foundation of skill mastery. If you can develop a deep understanding of mechanics and the principles behind the skills you want to master, this is going to ultimately help you become a better athlete. So break down movements, focus on fundamental components of your skill, maybe your drive phase or your arm movement while sprinting, foot placement. All of these things make a big difference when we're trying to shave off hundredths and tenths of a second. Practice one component at a time, though. Deliberate repetitions. Don't try to do everything all at once. And consistency over intensity. Dedicate 10 minutes daily to skill-specific drills so that you can keep intensity to moderate to prioritize your form. These 10 minutes should be specific to what you need to get accomplished. And then the self-assessment. Film and review your technique weekly, really daily or weekly, and look for one key area to improve. And guidance is obviously important here because if you aren't progressing over plateaus, this is because you probably aren't getting precise feedback. And the truth is, an experienced mentor can really break down your movements, fix those inefficiencies, and provide a correction that's pretty much tailored to your unique additional needs, right? Your unique needs is what really sets apart a training program. So by now you know the drill, right? You have your checklist, you have your actual PDFs to download at the end of this video, down in the bottom. I'll see you guys on the next one. Now let's begin talking about the movement mastery formula. Before we get into today's training, you need to know this to unlock your true athletic potential. Micro adjustments for mastery. You need to fine-tune movements to eliminate your inefficiency and ultimately optimize your performance. Some of the habits. Give yourself a daily warm-up review, right? Dedicate 5 minutes before practice, to assess and adjust during your warm-ups, right? If you know what you want to accomplish, was your warm-up exactly what you want to do, give yourself a drill debrief. After each session, reflect on what felt natural and where you struggled. And then that feedback loop. You need to regularly seek feedback from your coaches. Don't just be out there going through the motions. Someone with experience can spot subtle errors, right? It's called the coach's eye. And this actually matters because small details make a big difference, guys. And coaches can spot those nuances in a technique that might take years for you to recognize alone. So you know the drill. At the end of these actual today's training, you can download the checklist to make sure that you're making micro adjustments at a high level. Next, it's the skill development formula, precision and mastery. So guys, man, if you're in high pressure skill execution, that's important, right? High pressure skill execution. This is an important trained skill to help you develop under pressure, right? Competition when you're nervous, when your palms are sweaty, knees weak, arms are heavy, mom's spaghetti, you know. Right? He's nervous. If you get that reference, you already know, right? But the habits here is that you need to simulate competition, right? You need to incorporate drills that mimic race conditions, like executing a perfect block start under pressure, right? And fatigue training, right? Practice your drills on how you can run under fatigue, right? Practice your skills at the end of your sessions. So if you have to do a warm down and you need to do high knees when you're tired, so you can still execute, those drills and run under fatigue. And visualization under pressure. Close your eyes and mentally rehearse executing your skills flawlessly. High stakes scenarios. And by now you should know that coaches can simulate this competition environment and help you build resilience under pressure so they can ultimately teach you the mental strategies to maintain and focus during those critical moments. Let's dive into training for today. Right? So how are you going to practice before? How are you going to feel before practice? Right? Your oatmeal, sliced banana. By now you should kind of have some insight on how you can interchange these things, right? And then your mindset. Embrace the challenge. You can see difficult drills as opportunities to improve. Example, I'll lean into discomfort because growth happens outside of my comfort zone. Now, today's workout. 3 times 10 meters, 1 minute rest, 3-point stands, 100% intensity. 3 times 20, 2 minutes rest, 3 times 30, rest. These can be done in spikes. Then take 5 minutes rest and do a 30-meter fly with a 20-meter push. So that's pushing as hard as you can for 20 meters, then do a 30-meter fly after that, reaching maximum speed. Gets 4 reps. So 4 reps, that's it. It take 8 minutes rest in between each of these flies. Right? We want to have full recovery because this is a full maximal intensity fly. Post-practice pillars. Data-driven progress tracking. These flies need to be continuously progressing. If a coach isn't timing these, if he doesn't tell you what time you're running on these flies, how do you know if you're progressing? You're just out there running. So am I even measuring my times in practice? Is my coach communicating these times with me? How do I even know if I'm actually progressing? Does he have some system or something in order to test so we can know where we're at? Data-driven decisions is ultimately the best decisions. And then post-practice reflection. Did I fully embrace those challenges in practice, or did I shy away from the discomfort? Which drill pushed me the most, and how did I respond? And then set that goal based on those reflection questions for next practice. Maybe target one of those drills that were challenging for you and just conquer it. Post-practice recovery. Did I use cold water therapy to help aid recovery? No, I didn't. So you can plan for cold water immersion the next intense session. Nutrition. You want to combine carbs and protein. Maybe half a PB&J sandwich post-practice. And then sleep. Am I even tracking my sleep patterns to identify what areas I can actually improve? Maybe try using a sleep tracker or journal to help monitor your duration, quality, or sleep consistency. I'll see you guys on Friday's training. Made it to Friday. Happy Friday. I hope you guys are feeling well. I hope you're enjoying the sprint training program so far. So, building off of our pillars, Our pre-practice fuel will be some oatmeals, sliced bananas, and a drizzle of maple syrup. Right? We know complex carbs are important, so that's why we implement these oats. Bananas are quick sugars, and maple syrup is just like a natural way to sweeten and add a little extra energy. Then we have to build upon our pillars. So, what's our pre practice mindset? We need to visualize success. So, an action step would be to picture yourself succeeding before every drill and every rep. Now, let's get into the actual workout. So, it's Friday, you get a chance to pick your workout. You can either do 2 times 8 60-meter hill sprints, 4-minute rest, rep rest, and then 10-minute set rest. Or you can do 3 times 3 times 50 meters. So 3 sets of 3 reps at 50-meter sled pulls, 20% of your body weight, 5-minute rep rest, and 10-minute set rest. Or 2 times 8 times 60-meter bounding for 10 meters plus a 50-meter sprint. So you just perform bounds for 10 meters, emphasizing height and force, and immediately follow that with a 50-meter acceleration sprint. So bound, 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 sprint as hard as you can, 100% intensity. You take 4 minutes rest between each 60-meter rep, and then 10 minutes rest between each actual set. So let's go ahead and build off of our same pillars so we can go through post-practice. So, skill development. Drill customization for skill development. Are my training drills targeted to my exact needs is what you should be asking yourself. Right? And then an action step would be to work with a specialist to help tailor your drills, address the specific areas like ground contact time, power generation, or even stride efficiency. And the importance of this is cookie cutter drills just waste your time. And by now you might already know that, but specialists will help design sessions that maximize progress in the shortest time frame. Mindset. What's your post-practice reflection like? Did the visualization actually help improve your performance or your focus today? And were there any moments where your visualization aligned with execution? And then set your goals for next practice. Deepen your visualization practice by adding maybe sensory details. Could I feel the explosiveness from my drive phase? Now let's dive into the pillar of recovery. Reflect. Recovery is a key part of your routine. Is it a key part of your routine? Ask yourself that. And then the action step would be to set recovery specific goals for the week. I want to improve my foam rolling consistency would be an example. Now, your post-practice nutrition. The goal should be able to balance protein with complex carbs, such as your baked salmon and maybe even quinoa salad. And then to implement your pillars of sleep. Did I get enough sunlight during the day? So sunlight helps sets your circadian rhythm, which will ultimately allow you to get regular sleep cycles and schedules. So an action step would be spend 10 to 15 minutes in the morning to help reset your circadian rhythm. More bonus time so we can always keep improving as an athlete. So this is the movement mastery formula, right? To unlock your true potential, we need to at least have some sort of weekly development plan. So the purpose is the structured progression to consistently build movement mastery. Set weekly goals, daily progression, right? Drill progression and recovery focus. And why your guidance actually matters is because structured progression is key to improvement. Without structured progression, you won't have key improvement. And the truth is that without expert programming, you're more than likely going to plateau or overtrain. Skill development formula. You need to unlock precision and mastery. So if you can refine through feedback and adjustment, this will help you fine tune your performance and really give you that regular evaluation and targeted modifications that you need. And the reason why this is important because you need the feedback loop. If you can actively seek feedback from knowledgeable sources after each session to answer what can you do better, you can then begin to make the micro adjustments. You can make one small change at a time and practice it until it feels natural. And then ultimately, you can track your progress and maintain a journal so that you can keep track of the record of the progress that you've made and what worked and what ultimately didn't and what to focus on next. And by now, you know that experienced eyes can help catch what self review oftentimes misses. Right? We've all been there when you're wondering, like, how did I not see this? And a coach can help you avoid those bad habits and reinforce those proper techniques consistently. Help you get those outside returns. So you guys know how it is. At the bottom of this video, I will have, some more freebies, checklists, so that you can make sure that you're going through these things every week to always improve. Another complete rest day. And you guys know how we do it. We have another bonus for you here. We got the Athlete Blueprint for Success, Sports Principles for Goal Setting and Achievement. Go ahead and check this out on your rest day. Sunday, active recovery day. 20-minute bike, a round of golf, your 40-minute walk, basketball game, or a light lift.